Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. I am a trainer, activating the Insect Race Domination System. Chapter 21. S-23 Supply Area. Sun Chi had a good sleep and felt refreshed. Not long after getting up and preparing to take the bus back to the city, he received a call. After saying a few words, his face gradually became ferocious. Du Feng, you, playing dirty. As the largest family in Linkang City, the Sun family naturally arranged many spies. Some small actions of the Du family were also noticed. After notifying Sun Chi, the matter suddenly became clear. Second aunt, please come over and help me save people. I must take care of this matter. I invited Lu Chen, and I took him into the secret realm. He also saved my life. Don't worry about what he got in the secret realm, just come first. Quote. After hanging up the phone, Sun Chi immediately sent a message to Lu Chen, but there was no response. Then, he went to the supply area registration office and found the surveillance of Lu Chen leaving. Stop. Looking at the two figures in the picture, Sun Chi gritted his teeth in anger. Du Shanghe, a second-level master of Rongqiao realm. After arriving at the exit of the stone fort, Sun Chi was restless and walked back and forth. He didn't dare to go alone to save people. The mad dogs of the Du family were desperate and could do anything. Half an hour later, a beautiful woman fell from the sky and landed in front of Sun Chi. The people around him immediately exclaimed, "The boss of the Yukong realm." They all moved away. The Yukong realm is at the top of the pyramid in Linkang City, and no one dares to mess with it. Second aunt, you are finally here. Sun Chi was overjoyed. Don't say more. Sun Chenyan asked, how long have they been gone? 3 hours, they left the supply area at 10 in the morning. It's all my fault for getting up too late. Sun Chi said angrily. After all, he is young. I never thought that my teammates who were in the trial together would kill people for the inner elixir and steal treasures. Let's go, but you have to know that it may be too late to save your friend. Sun Chenyan sent out a spiritual energy with his right hand, directly lifted Sun Chi up and flew into the air. After rising to the void, he continued, can you tell me what the Du family wants to get at all costs? Sun Chi was silent for a few seconds, still smiled bitterly and said, a heaven-level inner elixir, probably the first or second grade. Then, he briefly recounted what happened last night. As soon as the voice fell, the inspiration under his feet trembled, almost throwing Sun Chi down. Sun Chenyan looked at the prodigal son in front of him, moved his lips and wanted to curse a few words, but still stopped. You only know that the heavenly grade inner elixir can create an A-level awakener. But what you don't know is, the innate ability derived from the heavenly grade inner elixir can also grow. That is to say, the A-level may grow to the S-level. Sun Chi was shocked. Not leaving. In the Chixia mountain area, Du Shanghe and Du Feng hid behind the dense forest. More than 100 meters ahead, Lu Chen suddenly stopped and found a tree to sit down. After thinking for a few seconds, Du Shanghe shook his head. This place is not bad, it is quite suitable as a burial place. After saying that, he didn't hide anymore. He walked out directly. What else is there to worry about? Even if that kid is in the transcendent realm, so what? And he has also simply explored this place, there is no ambush at all. So what if he is an A-level awakener? If you take something you shouldn't take, you will still die. As he walked, Du Shanghe's Rongqiao realm cultivation exploded, and his blood was like a dragon. With one step, he approached Lu Chen. Du Feng also followed behind, chasing madly, feeling extremely excited. Heavenly grade inner pill, it's almost there. A distance of 100 meters is fleeting for a warrior, and he was only a few seconds behind Du Shanghe. The strange thing is, the two made a lot of noise. But Lu Chen was still sitting, with his back to them, slashing with his sword in his hand. Du Feng stepped forward and shouted, Lu Chen, that heavenly grade inner pill in your hands will only be a hidden danger. You might as well sell it to my Du family. The voice faded away. Lu Chen still ignored him. Just as Du Feng frowned and was about to say something else, the young man in front suddenly turned around. Holding 2 white wooden boards in his hand, he grinned and said, these 2 boards will be used as a monument for the 2 of you. Do you mind? Just as Du Shanghe snorted and was about to take action, Lu Chen suddenly took out something in his hand. It was the inner elixir. Do you want it? The two of them were immediately attracted, completely subconsciously. At this time, Du Shanghe suddenly felt creepy, his heartbeat almost stopped. How brave. He only felt the coldness on the back of his neck, and immediately knew that something powerful was coming. His hair stood up. After all, he is also an old man in the world. In a flash, all the spiritual power in his body was mobilized, all out of the body, and turned into a series of defensive crystal walls, blocking behind him. Old fool, you react quite quickly. When Lu Chen spoke, he already had a sword in his hand, and moved his body to attack Du Feng. The sword flashed, and the speed was extremely fast. Indistinctly, there seemed to be thunder exploding. It was the little thunder blade. After upgrading the basic blade technique, with the offspring of Kai Yi, he got the second-grade yellow-level martial arts. Second uncle. Du Feng was furious, and felt that the shadow of death completely enveloped him. His qi and blood value was only 149 cards, the peak of a quasi-warrior. How could he be Lu Chen's opponent? At this time, he didn't even have time to respond. Ah! The knife flashed, and Du Feng was cut in half. His face was still full of astonishment and fear. The last picture in his sight was his lower half. You deserve to die. Du Shanghe's eyes were bloodshot, and all the acupoints in his body were opened, and his spiritual power surged. At that moment just now, he had to defend against Hong Shuang, and had no time to care about anything else. And now, the most talented descendant of the Du family died in front of him, cut in half. Kill. The endless hatred in his heart turned into a terrifying murderous intent and rushed towards Lu Chen. However, he was only halfway there. A strange flame suddenly appeared from the side. This is not a natural ability. It's alive. It's the bug that just attacked me from behind. The purple flames on the outside and black flames on the inside were reflected in Du Shanghe's pupils, and he felt his soul trembling. The weapon in his hand resisted. After being stained by a trace, it actually began to dissolve directly. In a panic, Du Shanghe's defense gradually became chaotic. No matter what weapon he took out, it could be destroyed. Even the spiritual power shield was just barely supporting it. I will die, I will die. After dealing with it for a while, his scalp became more and more numb. The unknown is the most terrifying. The speed of the flames is too fast. His attack could not hit at all. With the increase and decrease of one, he would definitely be killed. With his thoughts rolling, Du Shanghe panicked and turned around immediately, ready to escape. However, right in front of him, several more blood-sucking insects appeared, exactly the same as the one that attacked him at the beginning. Not only in front, but also on the left and right, there are the same blood-sucking insects. And there are more of them. Impossible. What the hell is this thing? After being scared by Hong Shuang, he subconsciously thought that the insects in the other three directions were the same thing and could also turn into terrifying flames. After making a choice, he continued to fight with Hong Shuang. After all, there was only one here, ready to escape from this direction. Seeing this, Lu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. The plan succeeded. After more than 10 seconds, a miserable howl resounded through the clouds. The third master of the Du family, a second-level warrior in the Rongqiao realm. Dead. Almost let him run away. Lu Chen whispered to himself. Looking at the two corpses, he was silent for a few seconds and let Hong Shuang devour them directly. In the eyes of the blood-sucking insects, the corpses of human warriors and the corpses of fierce beasts are no different. In just a dozen seconds, the two corpses were devoured. Lu Chen was just planning to see what the feedback data was. After all, there was a fusion realm, which was equivalent to a second-level fierce beast. But the information in his mind made him sluggish. Your blood-sucking worms devour the flesh and blood of warriors, you get special feedback, and obtain the skill, 4 Seasons Fist Yellow Grade 7. Your blood-sucking worms devour the flesh and blood of warriors, you get special feedback, and obtain the body method, 7-Star Cloud Hidden Step Yellow Grade 6. Hong Shuang's feedback, there is a hidden mechanism. Could it be that, devour fierce beasts, feedback energy. Devour warriors, feedback the skills they have learned. This should be Hong Shuang's special feedback ability. When binding the blood-sucking worm before, there is an introduction on the panel. Talent. Energy feedback. In some cases, there may be special feedback. At that time, Lu Chen was still confused. But he couldn't figure it out, so he put it behind his mind. It turned out that the activation of special feedback was to devour warriors. Linkang City, Dongcheng District, the old residence of the Du family. In the clan temple, all the leaders of the Du family were present. In the entire Linkang City, although the Du family is not as good as the Sun family where Sun Qi lives, it can still be considered a martial arts family. The head of the family, Du Hongtian, is also a real master of the sky control realm. His hair was gray and there was no trace of spiritual power in his body. He looked more like an ordinary old man. Standing at the top right now, holding the dragon head crutch in his hand, he silently looked at the ancestral tablet. Among the people behind him, including the older generation and the middle-aged generation, they all stood speechless. Most people were summoned at short notice and looked confused, not knowing what was going on. Another 10 minutes passed. Bang! The dragon-headed crutch hit the ground, deafening. Du Hongtian turned around. The aura all over his body suddenly erupted, and he looked like an eagle or a wolf, which made people feel fearful. Many people don't know why I suddenly convened the ancestral temple meeting. His eyes scanned the crowd. He smiled and continued. Half an hour ago, Lao Wu and Xiaofeng went to intercept and kill a martial arts examinee outside the city. As soon as these words came out, everyone's faces showed surprise. Martial arts examinee. This can also be intercepted and killed. Aren't you afraid that the inspectors will come to your door and destroy the Du family? Martial arts candidates, as the cornerstone of Daxia, are protected by many regulations. If he died while practicing outside the city, he would be killed by a ferocious beast. There is nothing to say, just die and no one will pursue it. But if you die in the hands of the same kind, after finding out, it must have been a lightning strike, implicating the entire clan. Why go and kill? Du Hongtian looked at everyone's expressions and continued, because that young man has a heaven-grade monster inner elixir in his hand. In front of him, the breathing on the faces of many senior members of the Du family suddenly became rapid. Tianpin inner elixir. If we can get this thing, the Du family can surpass the Sun family in one fell swoop and become number one in Linkang City. After a few years of development, there is even hope of going to the main base in the Zhongnan Theater to compete for hegemony. Think of this, someone asked in a trembling voice. Chief, have you got the things? Now that you've done it. That's for sure. Moreover, there are many ways to eliminate future troubles. Got it, ha ha ha. Du Hongtian kept secret, looked at everyone with strange eyes, and said with a grin, Lao Wu and Du Feng are both dead. Boom, in the Du family temple. Everyone's minds were buzzing and their heartbeats seemed to have stopped. The fifth elder mentioned by Du Hongtian is Du Shanghe, the fifth elder, who is at the second level of fusion realm. A strong man of this level would kill a martial arts examinee. You actually missed it. No one believes this. I don't know how he died, and there is no need to find out. Anyway, it has something to do with that little guy. In addition, the Sun family has already arrived. Sun Chenyan from the royal air realm has just gone over there. This heavenly grade inner elixir seems to have no chance with our Du family. When it comes to this, Du Hongtian shook his head, which was quite a pity. If the Sun family didn't know about it yet, he would have done it himself and gone directly from the sky. What a pity. It's too late. Even if the Du family has 10 courages, they won't dare to confront the Sun family. Master, what should we do now? Someone asked in fear. Don't worry, everyone is dead, what else can happen? Du Hongtian arranged. Second brother, go and send a notice, saying that Lao Wu and Du Feng betrayed the Du family a few days ago and are missing. What they did has nothing to do with the Du family. In addition, arrange manpower to keep an eye on the man named Lu Chen. Killing my grandson will cost our Du family the only awakened person. This revenge must be avenged. As he spoke, sadness showed in his eyes. Leaning on a cane with a dragon head, he walked through the crowd and left the ancestral hall in a waning mood. The efforts of 6 generations have made the Du family what it is today. With great difficulty, Du Feng, the awakened one, was finally here, but now he was killed. Whether it is as the head of the family or as a grandfather. Du Hongtian's heart, full of murderous intent. Chixia Mountain. When Sun Chenyan took Sun Qi to find Lu Chen, the latter was lighting a fire and eating barbecue by a stream. The rich fragrance floats in the valley. Brother Lu, are you okay? Sun Qi was stunned after jumping down. On the way here, he was silent for a long time, feeling very guilty. If I hadn't let Lu Chen increase his numbers and enter the secret realm, he won't be plotted against by the Du family. That's the fusion realm. Even if Sun Qi encountered him, he might be able to escape relying on his trump cards, but if no one came to rescue him, he would probably be left alone. But what I saw in front of me was that Lu Chen was actually masturbating. This contrast, not so big. Hey, Brother Fu, why are you here? Lu Chen pretended to be surprised and said, what can happen to me? Although there are many ferocious beasts here, it is still safe if I stay hidden. When speaking, his eyes were vague, and he glanced at the woman who looked like a royal sister next to Sun Qi. A big boss in the sky control realm. Are you chasing me here because of the inner elixir? Lu Chen was thinking secretly in his heart. The consciousness in my mind asked, Hongshuang, the self-destruction of blood-eating insects, can it really threaten the woman in front? Master, don't worry, although the fools are not as powerful as me, they are still very strong if they self-destruct. If one doesn't work, then let's explode 10 of them and blow her up to the sky. Lu Chen suddenly knew something in his heart. The blood-eating insect's self-destruction is his last trump card. As for the power intensity, I haven't tried it yet and don't know yet. But Hongshuang is cute, and she will definitely not lie. 10 is not very safe. If you take action, explode 30 of them. It's enough to keep 20 for seeding. Just as Lu Chen was thinking about it, Sun Chenyan took a few steps forward and looked at him with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. After a few breaths, she kept saying nothing, and suddenly said, it seems that Du Shanghe was really killed by you. Du Shanghe? What Du Shang? Before Lu Chen could finish speaking, he was interrupted. Sun Chenyan completely ignored her and said to herself, you can kill me even at the second level of fusion aperture, and now that you see me coming, you are not afraid, and even have a faint murderous intention. She looked at Lu Chen. Suddenly he laughed, gracefully. Funny little guy, you must have a very strong trump card. But things like extraordinary killing and melting apertures have happened several times in the hundreds of years of the martial arts era. But it's simply impossible for the extraordinary to kill Yukong. Seeing the awkward look on Lu Chen's face, Sun Chenyan somehow felt more and more interesting. She has been practicing martial arts for more than 30 years and has never seen such a courageous young man. Not only can he keep his composure, he can also act well. Next to him, Sun Qi's eyes were dull, and he glanced at Lu Chen and his aunt from time to time. His brain seemed to have crashed, and he couldn't think straight. Du Shanghe, who was at the second level of Rongchao, was killed by Lu Chen. Wait, Lu Chen has entered the supernatural realm. When he entered the secret realm last night, he was just a quasi-warrior. How come he suddenly became supernatural, and even killed people across a large realm? This Linkang city, there is a monster like Lin Shui, which is already very scary. Now, there is another one. Is this true? Sun Qi raised his hand and slapped himself. It hurts. I'm not dreaming. He turned his head and looked at Sun Chenyan. It was the first time he saw such a strange expression on his aunt's face. Undisguised admiration, and strong interest. Speaking of which, his aunt is over 30 years old, and she has never had such an interest in any boy. For some reason, Sun Qi imagined a big drama in his mind. Pa, what are you thinking about? He blinked and was about to speak. Sun Chenyan turned his head and looked at him, nodded and praised, Xiao Qi, your friend is of high level, much better than those bad friends. It is worthy of a friendship sublimated by 10 million, it is worth it. Sun Qi, aunt, are you praising me or mocking me? In front of him, he saw Sun Chenyan took a few steps forward and sat directly in front of Lu Chen. He took the wooden skewer and pierced the monster meat and roasted it. Lu Chen, my name is Sun Chenyan, you can call me Aunt Sun. Don't worry, our Sun family is different from the Du family. There is no need to kill people and rob treasures. This time, Xiao Qi begged me to save you. Sun Chenyan said, turning the skewers skillfully. Pick up the seasoning beside Lu Chen and sprinkle it lightly on it. Sun Qi beside him chuckled. He raised his chin towards Lu Chen, as if asking, brother, are you loyal enough? The latter smiled. He handed over a skewer of roasted meat. Sun Qi took it happily and started eating beside him. In front of him, he saw Sun Chenyan raised his head and looked at Lu Chen seriously. He continued, "If you are assured, you can give me the heavenly inner pill, and the Sun family will help you sell it and charge 3% of the labor fee. If you don't like it, forget it." She was about to continue speaking. Lu Chen in front of him suddenly did not hesitate. He took something out of his pocket and threw it over indifferently. Sun Chenyan subconsciously caught it. The inner pill of the monster in his hand was about the size of an egg, with a red surface, emitting warmth, and a touch of golden light. It was really a heavenly inner pill. Even the big boss of the Yukong realm couldn't help but tremble at this time. This time, it was Sun Chenyan who was stunned. She heard Lu Chen laughing. "This thing is a hot potato. Sister Sun sold it for me. I'd love to have it." Hearing this name, Sun Chenyan blinked and her expression softened a lot. Lifting her drooping hair, she looked at the boy opposite and asked, "Aren't you afraid that my Sun family will just embezzle it?" "Sister Sun, you're joking." Lu Chen ate the skewers and said calmly, "Even if it is really embezzled by the Sun family, it's better than losing my life. Besides..." He paused. He turned and said seriously, "My parents died early, and I have experienced the ups and downs of life. I always judged people by intuition. Sister Sun, you are definitely not a bad person. 2 people from the Du family have died for the inner elixir. If you still carry it in your hand, there will definitely be endless trouble. If things go wrong, a powerful person in the sky control realm will come to attack and kill. And the news has leaked, and the enemies attracted may not only be the Du family. It's better to give it a try. The most important thing is that Hongshuang, as an ancient strange insect, has a strong perception. She has already told Lu Chen that Sun Chenyan has no intention of killing. That's not a big problem. Lu Chen knows it very well. Anyway, with the insect cubs in hand, this inner pill is really not very useful to me. It is better to sell it and buy resources to cultivate the insect cubs. Even if the heavenly inner pill can create A-level and S-level talents, can it defeat the insect swarm disaster?" As his thoughts flowed, Lu Chen saw the astonishment on the other party's face. He smiled and continued, "Even if I made a mistake and was deceived by Sister Sun, I will admit it." Hearing this, Sun Chenyan stared at Lu Chen. She found that the boy's eyes were extremely clear, without the slightest pretense. As a warrior in the sky control realm, her perception is also extremely high. She can tell that Lu Chen is not speaking against his heart, but is sincere. "You are very smart, smarter than I thought. If Shaoqi had 1/10 of you, our Sun family would probably take off." They just stared at each other for a few seconds. Sun Chenyan suddenly covered her mouth and laughed, "Okay. I've decided on you as my brother. Don't worry, I won't let you call me sister for nothing. The market price is 3% labor fee, sister will decide, I'll reduce it to 1% for you. In addition, the Tianpin inner pill is in Linkang City, it must be impossible to digest it, and it has to go to the main base of the Zhongnan War Zone, which will take some time. If you need money urgently, just ask Shaoqi to pre-collect it, and settle it later." Sun Qi, who was standing not far away, widened his eyes. He held the skewers in his hand, but he didn't put them in his mouth, and he was stunned there. Brother Lu is so good. Not only does he know how to play the pig and eat the tiger, but he is also very good at coaxing women. He has the same 36-degree mouth, how can he be so good at talking? In just a few words, the Sun family lost several hundred million. You know, a few years ago, an Earth-level inner pill was sold at a sky-high price of 40 billion at the auction house. This heaven level, it is completely inestimable. Thinking of this, he secretly gave Lu Chen a thumbs up. I wish I could become his apprentice. As for the Sun family's loss of several hundred million, what does it have to do with me, Sun Qi? After a few more simple exchanges, Sun Chenyan suddenly instructed, "In Linkang City, the Du family has been doing some shady things, you must be careful. They will definitely seek revenge on you. But as long as you don't leave the city, they won't have a chance. No one dared to do it in the city. Otherwise, they will die, no matter how big their background is. But outside the city, there are more opportunities." At this time, Lu Chen's eyes flashed with a faint light, and he suddenly asked, I heard that if you get the top scorer in the Zhongnan War Zone martial arts examination, you will get a gold medal of immunity from death. There is such a thing, called Mountain and River Order, which is very useful. It can even invite great masters to take action, or exchange for merits, etc. Of course, as long as you don't go too far, you can also use it as a gold medal of immunity from death. After Sun Chenyan explained, he suddenly became serious. Lu Chen, you must not act impulsively. The head of the Du family is the 4th level of flying, which is a few points stronger than me. This kind of existence is far beyond your ability to deal with. Of course, with your A-level fire talent, you may be able to fight it after you are promoted to the flying realm. Lu Chen nodded. No more words. The most feared thing about revenge is procrastination. Instead of being on guard all the time, it is better to act as soon as possible. It's less than a month before the martial arts examination. Now that I have a huge amount of money in my hands, it should be no problem to be promoted to the 9th level of transcendence. The key is, we have to raise the blood-sucking worms and produce more generations. After I win the Zhongnan War Zone martial arts examination, I will solve the Du family's troubles. Lu Chen said to himself. After eating the skewers, he followed Sun Chenyan back to the city. Now that his wallet is bulging, it is unnecessary and unsafe to stay outside the city. Go back to buy the blood and flesh of fierce beasts and start raising worms. Stand firm. A soft spiritual power supported his waist, and then slowly lifted off the ground. Sun Chenyan said a word, and took Lu Chen into the air. Below, Sun Qi was confused. "Aunt, where are I? Why don't you take me with you?" The shouts echoed in the valley. In the sky, a response floated. "Aunt is old and can't take 2 people. Go to S23 by yourself and take the bus back." Sun Qi, my nephew is not as good as the brother I just recognized. Is this really reasonable? Linkang City. Although I've only been away for 2 days. But when Lu Chen entered the city gate, he suddenly felt that time had passed and things had changed. There is indeed a lot going on. This caused my own plans to have to be adjusted accordingly. Before him, he is also planning to stay outside the city for a month, relying on Hongshuang to continuously feed him back, and to cultivate the offspring of blood-eating insects. But now, the Du family is a life and death enemy. But he also relied on the Tianpin inner elixir to gain huge wealth. Overall, it's getting better and better. Lu Chen smiled and took out a card in his hand. 5 billion, I don't know what level it can elevate me to. Before entering the city, Sun Chenyan took Lu Chen to a secluded place, handed him a card, and left. There is only a faint fragrance that lingers in your nose. I have to say, the feeling of controlling the void is really good. Besides, he was still being led by a royal sister. As for why there are only 5 billion, Sun Chenyan also said in detail that although the Sun family has achieved the #1 position in Linkang, it is involved in various industries. But most of them are fixed assets, and there is not much cash flow. In fact, Lu Chen didn't dislike the lack of money. But people were afraid that he would misunderstand, so they had to explain clearly. I have to say, Sun Chenyan, this newly recognized sister, is indeed sincere. Sun family, Du family. Lu Chen shook his head. I didn't expect that a lonely man like me would be involved with a martial arts family of this level. But think about it carefully. Not bad. With the Sun family helping me stand on the table, I can avoid a lot of trouble. At least if Lu Chen wants to use the Tianpin inner elixir himself. I'm afraid it's not that easy. After withdrawing his thoughts, Lu Chen stopped a car and went straight to Juding Pavilion. On the way, he closed his eyes and rested his mind, secretly thinking about what to do next. The 2 original mother insects I have now, Hongshuang and Kai. After the blood-devouring worms multiply, they will have terrifying combat power, even causing natural disasters to the Zerd clan. And the Dao-derived worms serve as auxiliary types to improve myself. There will be 2 things in the next month. First, #1 in the martial arts exam. At least he is the #1 scholar in the Zhongnan War Zone. Get the death-free gold medal. This is the Shan order in Sun Chenyan's mouth. As for the top prize in the National Martial Arts Examination, if you can get it, it doesn't matter if you can't get it. On the way back from Yukong, Lu Chen deliberately talked about related topics. In the words of Sun Chenyan, the martial arts era is almost 1,000 years old. How much knowledge have those terrifying martial arts families and even hidden forces accumulated? The geniuses they cultivated are truly outstanding. Besides, the military system has also been on the rise in recent years. The elite young people who have begun to cultivate themselves should not be underestimated either. Starting from this session, if you want to win the top prize in the Zhongnan War Zone, it will be as difficult as climbing to the sky. As for the second thing, of course we must deal with the Du family and eradicate the roots. Although the Sun family has interests in exchange with themselves, they will not kill people for themselves. Liu Chen had to do this himself. To prevent thieves for 1,000 days, it is better to eradicate them as soon as possible. Liu Chen didn't like to be dragged around. After understanding these 2 points, it becomes clear how to arrange it. My first priority now is to improve myself. Spend money to buy the corpses of ferocious beasts, and let Hongshuang feed you back. The second step is to use Kai to breed offspring to evolve skills and improve proficiency. As for the blood-eating insects, let's wait and see how the resources multiply first. How many are there? While thinking, already arrived at Juding Pavilion. Liu Chen was very familiar with it. He saw the waiter Ji coming up to him and said directly, "Take me to the conference room and let old Liu come out to pick up the guests." "Ah, okay." The smile on service Ji's face froze. Keep up with Liu Chen while keeping in touch. As for Lao Lu, it was the deacon who received him last time. They are considered acquaintances. In the lounge, Liu Bingren walked in with a smile on his face. Naturally, he took the teapot from the waiter Ji's hand and made tea for Liu Chen himself. "My little friend is visiting again. Do you still plan to buy the corpse of a vicious beast?" Liu Chen didn't do any ink either. He directly took out the card given by Sun Chenyan and slapped it on the coffee table. "There are 5 billion in this card. Do you want to check it?" Bang! Liu Bingren's knees softened and he almost fell to his knees. This is not a little friend, this is the god of wealth coming to your door. There are more than 10 customer deacons in Juding Pavilion, Linkang City. If he completes Liu Chen's list, he will definitely be the best seller this year. No. In an instant, Liu Bingren suppressed the excitement in his heart and said with a respectful expression, "This is the Sun family's Black Yao card. I still recognize it." Liu Chen nodded. He said directly, "First, we should arrange a training room that is fully equipped. It should be the Tianzihao one you mentioned last time. Let's book it for 20 days first. Second, all the ferocious beasts that are freshly put into the warehouse every day, with level 2 and above, can be sent to me." After the request is finished, Liu Chen suddenly changed the topic. "By the way, old Liu, do you have any materials to improve your understanding, or anything related to this?" His second original mother insect, Dao derivative insect, Kai. There are 2 ways of reproduction. First, natural reproduction, 60 birds per hour. Second, feeding-related materials can lead to additional reproduction. If Kai relies on herself, she can only reproduce 60 in an hour. It's really not enough. Especially, after Liu Chen killed Du Shanghe, he obtained 2 skills through Hongshuang's feeding. Yellow rank 6, 7-star cloud hidden step. Yellow rank 7, 4 seasons fist. This is not the basic boxing and basic swordsmanship at the beginning. If you want to evolve, 7-star cloud hidden step requires 2,000 Daoyan insect bodies, and the latter requires 2,500. This is just the evolution of the skills. If you want to improve your proficiency, the cost is even more amazing. Liu Chen now has less than 1,000 Daoyan insect bodies in total. At this time, just after he asked, Liu Bingren thought for a while, nodded and said, "Linkang has no inventory in this area, but the main base in Zhongnan has. Like enlightenment tea, tribulus juice, shenluo wood, etc. If you need it, I will notify them to transfer the goods immediately." Liu Chen's eyes lit up and he immediately decided to order. Although it's expensive, this money must be spent. The more offspring Kai Yi reproduces, the stronger he will be. After these 2 skills evolve, they will be at least at the Zan level, right? Liu Chen was looking forward to it. At the same time, in an office filled with flowers, Sun Chenyan stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, holding a piece of information in his hand and reading it carefully. After a few minutes, she frowned and put it down. Looking at the scene in the distance outside the window, he said to himself, my godbrother is a bit weird. Oh, what kind of weird method? Suddenly, an old voice came from outside the office door. Next, a vigorous old man walked in with a plate of walnuts and a bird cage. Grandpa, Sun Chenyan's face showed joy. Are you out of seclusion? Have you broken through to the master level? This person's name is Sun Junyu, the strongest member of the Sun family in Linkang, with a 9th level cultivation in Yukong, has been in seclusion for these years, and wants to knock on the door of the master. Oh, Grandpa's shortcomings will be exposed as soon as we meet. The old man pretended to sigh. Does it mean that I can't come out until I reach the master level? Even though he said so. But he still walked in with a smile. Putting down the bird cage, Sun Junyu continued with a wry smile. All those under the Grand Master are ants. How difficult it is to enter that realm. No, I heard that you made a Tianpin inner elixir. I haven't seen it for a long time. I was really itchy, so I came out to see the excitement. Okay, let's not talk about this. Tell me about that little guy. Sun Chenyan put down the information. He said softly, his name is Lu Chen. His parents were both grassroots members of the Linkang military. They died in the beast wave 10 years ago. When I was a freshman in high school, I awakened my talent, but unfortunately it was the life-type domestication. When it comes to this, Sun Chenyan's expression was quite strange. Looking at Sun Junyu, she said in confusion. According to what Xiao Qi said, when Lu Chen took action, he used fire-based abilities. And the level is not low, at least a B-level talent. Besides, he is extremely low-key in school. Even if he is ridiculed as a trainer, his fire talent has not been exposed. Because of this, the school of Linkang No. 3 Middle School also suggested that Lu Chen take the literary test to avoid losing his life during the martial arts test. At this time, Sun Junyu suddenly asked, what was his most recent qi and blood test in school? 10 days ago, 119 cards. What about when you met him? Sun Chenyan suddenly stood up. The look on his face was full of shock. She actually missed this point and replied in a trembling voice, I'm not sure exactly, but it must be the transcendent realm. The old man had been plating walnuts earlier. Now put down what you are holding. He raised his head, his eyes flashing. According to what you said, 10 days ago he only had 119 calories, and 10 days later it will be over 150. In 10 days, I improved by more than 30 calories. Is this speed faster than those monsters? Sun Chenyan's heart trembled. In my ears, I heard the old man continue. I know that some people in the Sun family are very impetuous now. After hearing the news about the Tianpin inner elixir, everyone was so distraught that they encouraged you to steal it for yourself. Sun Junyu sneered. Shaking his head, he continued, Li Ling is so stupid. Can such a talented person be bullied? Unless the roots are eradicated. But his information will definitely be spread out. At this moment, I am afraid that all the big shots in Linkang City are talking about Lu Chen's name. Not to mention, Senior Tianlei Sword and Chu Yuanlong from Zhongnan Martial Arts Academy are in Linkang at the moment. At this juncture, if anyone dares to take action against Lu Chen, Senior Chu will definitely take action, and the inspector will come immediately. To the true genius, Daxia has always been very protective and will not be stingy about sending out experts. In particular, Lu Chen is still a very clear person. My parents are in the military. This is definitely a plus. There's no guarantee that people from the Linkang military will be recruiting Lu Chen soon. Although the old man has been in seclusion, but he is very clear about external affairs. After thinking for a while, he continued, Shen Yan, I now delegate the power to you. Do this little guy a favor and treat it as a good relationship. Besides, if anyone within the Sun family has other ideas, you can kill them directly. Right, just in case, let's send someone to keep an eye on the Du family. After all, that Du Hongtian guy is a lunatic. After explaining some more, Sun Junyu picked up 2 ancient walnuts, carried the bird cage, and left leisurely. He was in a happy mood. I have a vague premonition. The opportunity for the Sun family to move to the next level lies with Lu Chen. In the office behind you. After Sun Chenyan regained her composure, she sighed, it's a pity, I don't have time for you to continue to improve. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will win the top spot in the martial arts examination in the Zhongnan War Zone. After all, there are less than 30 days until the martial arts test. No matter how talented Lu Chen is, he can't surpass those monster players. Think of this. Sun Chenyan felt a little regretful. At this moment, as Sun Junyu said, as the news about the Tianpin inner elixir spread, Lu Chen's information was also placed in the hands of major forces. All of a sudden, all the big shots in Linkang City were confused. Right under his nose, there is a prodigy who is more terrifying than Lin Shui. A-level fire talent. Increase health value by 30 calories in 10 days. These two pieces of information are nothing short of depth bombs, causing Linkang City to be turbulent. Many powerful people wanted to find Lu Chen and establish relationships, but they couldn't find him at all. As for the Du family, he immediately shrunk his power and became more calm, for fear of being targeted by someone with ulterior motives. Changes in the outside world. Lu Chen didn't know. At the moment, he has room and board in the training room of Juding Pavilion. After all, it is the best VIP area, the money is spent well, all the necessary facilities are complete, and there are also services to take care of life. On the second day, Lu Bingren, the deacon of Juding Pavilion, suddenly came on his own initiative. After entering the training room, he looked respectful and said with a wry smile, "I didn't expect that my little friend is actually a genius rumored by the outside world." Lu Chen blinked, a little confused. Seeing him like this, Lu Bingren explained everything outside in detail. Finally, he added, "Our Juding Pavilion keeps customer information completely confidential, so you don't have to worry, no one knows you are here." Lu Chen understood, but I don't care about that either. According to his plan, he was originally going to win the first place in the martial arts examination in the Zhongnan Theater Zone. Even if it is not noticed at this time, he will also stand in the spotlight later. It doesn't matter if it's earlier now. Then, Lu Bingren took out a ring and said, "This is a storage ring. You can just bind it, and it will be considered a gift from Juding Pavilion. Rest assured, we will give these small things to our distinguished guests and will not have any other requirements." Lu Chen hesitated for a few seconds. He nodded and smiled, "Thank you very much." After binding, I found that there was already something inside. Seeing this, Lu Bingren said at the right time, "The comprehension materials that the children need are urgently allocated from the headquarters. If they are not enough, there will be more later." Conversed a little, the other party left, and the practice room became quiet. Lu Chen digested the information just now. According to what Lu Bingren said, as his strength is exposed, there are many forces in Linkang City and even in the Zhongnan War Zone who want to recruit him. Do everything possible to find out the news. But this time, Seniors Tianlejian and Chu Yuanlong stood up and suppressed the trend. And he said directly, "Let's wait until Lu Chen takes the martial arts test before talking about anything. Before that, no interruptions." This saved Lu Chen a lot of trouble. After all, although Juding Pavilion is powerful, it cannot block everyone's hands and eyes. You have to have the Heavenly Thunder Sword of the 9th level of the Grandmaster to have this ability. Senior Chu's move is probably to scare the Du family. I will have to thank you for this kindness after my martial arts exam. Lu Chen muttered to himself. But he suddenly laughed. Increasing 30 calories in 10 days makes you so excited, but now I'm already at the 5th level of extraordinary. If you do the math, in the past 2 days, the number of calories increased by 59 from 150 to 209. All the corpses of the newly introduced ferocious beasts in Juding Pavilion were moved to his side. The feedback after being devoured by Red Frost is also endless. When it first started, devouring a second-level early-stage ferocious beast can feed back 15 cards. But as Lu Chen's cultivation level increased, the value of feedback also began to decrease. Now after the 5th level of Transcendence, only by devouring the ferocious beasts in the late 2nd level can we continue to maintain 15 cards. No matter how much the data is, it is always improving. But the most important thing now is that the corpses of the ferocious beasts in Juding Pavilion are not enough for me. Linkang City is not a big city in the Zhongnan War Zone. This leads to the transaction volume at Juding Pavilion is also small. There are only about 10 second-level ferocious beasts put into the warehouse every day, and the corpses that remain intact are even rarer. As for the 3rd level, not at all. A 3rd-level ferocious beast, comparable to a warrior in the air control realm. In the entire Linkang City, there are less than 10 warriors in the sky control realm, and no one is willing to hunt the ferocious beasts. That's why, in the past 2 days, Lu Chen let Hongshuang swallow 3 heads on the first day and 2 on the second day. After refeeding, you can only wait or do other things. Hungry, hungry, hungry. 5 hungry meals in 2 days. He had already ordered Lu Bingren to ask Juding Pavilion to increase the price, but the effect was not very good. After all, the largest organization for hunting ferocious beasts in Linkang City is the military. And it belongs to a special unit there and will definitely not be sold. Well, it's so hard. Shaking his head, Lu Chen stopped thinking and took out the materials from the storage ring. Called Kai out again. In the transparent wings, the colorful light flows, which is extremely dreamy. When the little guy saw the wood of enlightenment, he flew over happily and perched on it. Such a small thing cost 30 million. Kai, you have to work hard and have more babies. Lu Chen whispered to himself. When the little guy heard it, he flapped his wings in response. Currently, she can understand Lu Chen's words, but she cannot communicate directly with her consciousness like Hongshuang. At this time, I saw that it would still be some time before Kai finished eating the Tao Enlightenment tree. Lu Chen stopped looking. After 2 days of saving, there are now a total of 3,722 Tao-derived insect larvae. You can try the upgrade technique. Whispering softly to himself, Lu Chen sat cross-legged, feeling a little excited. The last time, the basic fist that was not advanced could evolve into the yellow grade 2 Tiger Cannon Fist. This time, the 7-star Cloud Hidden Step is a real yellow grade 6. Don't ask for too much. It would be great if it could evolve into the mysterious grade 6. After taking a few deep breaths, Lu Chen began to use the Dao Yan bug to evolve the technique. As Lu Chen's mind moved, in the transparent wings of Kai Yi, the speed of the colorful light flowed much faster. Then, ripples appeared in the void around the wings. Tiny colorful light particles floated out from inside, flying and connecting to Lu Chen's eyebrows like a ribbon. These light particles are the offspring of Dao Yan insects. He was wondering before, where did Kai Yi's 60 offsprings per hour go? Unexpectedly, it was in his wings. At this moment, as the colorful ribbon touched his eyebrows, a cool feeling came suddenly. In an instant, consciousness seemed to be pulled into nothingness. There were dense golden small characters floating around, which were the content of 7-star Cloud Hidden Steps. In addition, there were also graphic descriptions. Just when Lu Chen was shocked, those golden small characters suddenly merged together and turned into a colorful light ball. The pictures and texts floating around seemed to come alive, like little people, deducing on their own. After a few breaths, the colorful ball of light exploded. A brand new body movement secret book was born. You consume 2,000 Daoyan insect bodies, and 7-star Cloud Hidden Step evolves into stepping on the divine steps. In Lu Chen's mind, specific information emerged. Stepping on the divine steps body movement secret book. Rank: Earth rank 2. Description: it is evolved by arranging and evolving the 36 Tiangong stars and exploring all kinds of changes. Supplement: there are 9 levels in total, and each palm controls 4 stars as one level. Each level has its own mysteries. After reading the introduction, Lu Chen's heartbeat could not be suppressed, and it beat wildly. Earth rank: it really evolved into the Earth rank. Before this, he was just fantasizing and had no expectations at all. What is the concept of the Earth rank? The Sun family in Linkang City, as a martial arts world, has been passed down for hundreds of years. Relying on the ancestor who obtained a 6th grade Zon level technique in the ruins. And the Earth level technique is impossible to exist in Linkang City. If the news spreads, it will definitely attract the attention of many bigwigs. The Heaven level inner pill is just a consumable. It can only cultivate a genius and suppress a generation. And the Earth level technique is a real family foundation. It is enough to make the Sun family take several steps again. After a sigh, as Lu Chen's mind moved, the spiritual power in his body suddenly boiled up and rushed according to the Biyu Gang Ta Do. His figure suddenly shuttled in the training room like a ghost. Silently, it seemed to teleport and kept appearing everywhere. Even if it was a supernatural warrior, if he didn't concentrate and look carefully, he couldn't find his figure at all. So strong. With this body technique, I can even fight with a second-level beast. But it can only be used for a short time. My current spiritual power reserves and mental strength are completely insufficient. After a joyful experiment, Liu Chen was excited. It is indeed a second-level Earth-level skill. It can only be said to be ridiculously strong. And this is just what I have just learned, and I haven't even reached the first level. Thinking of this, Liu Chen felt a little sorry. Because he has no extra Daoyan insect bodies to upgrade the level of Bugong Tato. It's like having a treasure mountain but unable to develop it. I can't bear it. Slowly save it. Bugong Tato is a second-level Earth-level skill, with a total of 9 levels. To upgrade to the first level, you need 5,000 Daoyan insect bodies. The sight moved to Kai. The little guy was perched on the Wudao wood, and I don't know how he was chewing the materials. I thought 5 billion was a lot, enough for me to reach Rongqiao realm. Now it seems that I took it for granted. These rare materials for feeding Kai cost 800 million. Liu Chen shook his head, feeling a little emotional. Now, he was just waiting for Kai to finish eating the materials, and then reproduce more Daoyan insect bodies to evolve the second technique. 4 Seasons Fist. Unlike 7-star Cloud Hidden Step, this technique is a combat skill. If it can also evolve to the Earth rank, that would be amazing. 20 days later, in an antique office on the top floor of Juding Pavilion. Earth Marrow Spirit Liquid. What does he want this for? The one who raised this doubt was Huang Yongxiao, the shopkeeper of Linkang branch of Juding Pavilion. He frowned and leaned back. Lying on the soft back of the rocking chair, he continued, Earth Marrow Spirit Fluid is usually in the 9th level of the Extraordinary Realm, in preparation for breaking through the Fusion Realm. Could it be that Liu Chen has already reached the peak of the Extraordinary Realm? Across from his desk, Liu Bingren spread his hands and replied with a wry smile, Boss, you ask me, who should I ask? But in just 20 days, he can't be in the 9th level of the Extraordinary Realm. The martial arts era is almost 1,000 years old, and so many monsters have been born, but no one has ever lived so fast. After a pause, he continued, according to intelligence, Liu Chen may also be a pharmacist. He has been buying beast corpses crazily during this period, and asked me to constantly change the medicine furnace. I guess he found some ancient recipe and tried to refine it. Hearing this, Huang Yongxiao nodded. He also felt that his previous guess was really a fantasy. From the beginning of the Extraordinary Realm to the peak of the Extraordinary Realm, the blood value needs to be increased from 150 to 250, and the span is 100 calories. It is impossible in just 20 days. After all, when you are a quasi-warrior, there are some external objects that can improve your blood and qi, and there are almost no side effects. For example, at the beginning, the transfiguration pill that Bai Weizhou gave to Liu Chen. But once you enter the level and become a formal warrior, few people rely on external objects to improve. Because there are side effects. The improvement of blood and qi is a multi-step process. It is necessary to take into account the carrying capacity of the physical body, the load of energy, and the inclusion of the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Simply improving blood and qi will often cause weakness and inability to be supplemented. Those with too weak physical bodies may even explode and die. Of course, except for some top-level natural treasures. But those things are rare and can only be encountered by chance. At this time, in the office, Huang Yongxiao thought for a while and said in a deep voice, Earth Marrow Spirit Liquid is a controlled material. You go and register it and bring him a few copies. Also, remember to tell him that if it is used to make medicine, try to use other materials instead. If someone else needs the Earth Marrow Spirit Liquid. He refused directly, but Liu Chen is different. He can make an exception for him. After Liu Bingren left, Huang Yongxiao said to himself, this little guy, with A-level fire talent, doesn't go to the trial and strive for a good ranking, but stays in the practice room to make medicine. Forget it, I can understand it. When he entered the Extraordinary Realm, there was only 1 month left before the martial arts exam. No matter how hard he tried, it would be useless. Tisk tisk tisk. The martial arts exam in Linkang City this year should be very intense. Lin Shui, who is at the 3rd level of Extraordinary, Sun Qi, who is at the second level of extraordinary, and the girl introduced by the military is estimated to be at the third level of extraordinary. Lu Chen is a rising star. But in the small city of Linkang, there are still people who shine brighter than him. The time for the martial arts exam is approaching day by day. The atmosphere in Linkang City is becoming more and more lively. After all, the annual martial arts test is like a grand festival. Both warriors and ordinary people will pay special attention to it, and it even leads to gambling. At this time, a few dozen miles north of the city, somewhere in a small courtyard in the mountains, Chu Yuanlong from Zhongnan Martial Arts Academy stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the waterfall in the distance. There were two people sitting on the coffee table behind him. Yang Zhen, the president of Linkang City Martial Arts Association, is also the strongest person guarding this city, and is at the first level of the Grand Master realm. And the other one was Lu Chen's god sister, Sun Chenyan. Neither of them finished speaking and drank tea silently. After a long time, Chu Yuanlong turned around and said with a smile, "You two came to me together because of the martial arts exam, right?" He said as he spoke. He also sat at the coffee table and made tea by himself. Looking at the solemn eyes of the two people, he continued. The reform of martial arts examinations has been promoted 10 years ago. You should have heard relevant rumors. In the past 10 years, countless forces have been intertwined and connected one by one, and only then has this reform begun. Precisely because it's the first time, Daxia officials paid special attention to it and asked the 9 major martial arts academies to send experts to various cities to take charge of the work. So, I came to Linkang City. Opposite him, Yang Zhen saw Chu Yuanlong stop. After considering his words, he said, "I understand some of the regulations regarding martial arts reform, such as allowing military elites to participate. But what I don't understand is, why are those reclusive martial arts families, or even those who claim to be sects, qualified to send people to take part in martial arts exams? They never sent anyone to the battlefield." Hear this. Sun Chenyan also nodded. "This is also where I am confused." She looked at Chu Yuanlong and said seriously, "In the entire Daxia, there are countless martial arts families like our Sun family. Everyone relies on Daxia to survive and obey the orders. But those hidden forces occupy a blessed place and enclose their own territory. How can they get places for the martial arts examination? Warrior, if you want to improve your realm, you cannot do without resources. The higher your cultivation level, the more resources you need. Within Daxia, most secret realms and ruins are under official control. That's why, taking the martial arts exam and entering the 9 major martial arts academies in Daxia is the shortcut to climbing to the peak of martial arts. And this road is also full of competition. In the past, people from the military are not involved. They have their own system and produce and sell their own products. Now that the martial arts examination is being reformed, we have to come in and get a share of the pie. And it makes sense. After all, we are all our own. The maintenance of each city and the cleanup of ferocious beasts outside the city are inseparable from the military. But those hidden forces, although they are in Daxia, are almost isolated from the world. Also want to grab resources through martial arts exams. This is too much. Faced with the doubts of the two people, Chu Yuanlong was not angry either. After all, he came from the main base and his first task was to mediate. He picked up the teapot and filled it for the two of them. Suddenly the aroma of tea overflows. Then he continued, "There is a secret that I can tell you two in advance. You must have heard the legend of Tianyuan's secret realm, right?" The words just fell. Yang Zhen and Sun Chenyan's expressions changed wildly. Hundreds of years ago, the martial arts era arrived. Countless powerful beasts appear from the dimensional cracks. All major countries around the world have entered the Dark Age, with heavy casualties, and even worse, direct annihilation of the country. At this juncture, within the Kunlun territory of Daxia, a secret realm appeared called Tianyuan. The group of people who entered that year, as long as they are still alive, they will rise completely and become the giants of Great Sha. It was also at that time that many legendary families were born, which continue to this day. Just as the two of them were having ups and downs in their hearts. Chu Yuanlong continued, "The Tianyuan secret realm, after being closed for 500 years, is showing signs of opening. That's why the military, as well as the major hidden forces, all stepped forward to get a place to enter. Based on this incident, the martial arts examination reform has been promoted for 10 years and is scheduled to start in this session. We also specially set up a list. It's called Tianzhao List. The quota for entering the secret realm is on this list. Looking at the two people in front of them, they were breathing rapidly. Chu Yuanlong smiled, picked up the teacup and took a sip. When he heard the news, he was equally shocked. List of geniuses. For Daxia, it is absolutely unprecedented. If nothing unexpected happens. The benefits of being on the list are definitely not only access to Tianyuan's secret realm, but also terrifying cultivation resources. Countless young geniuses will strive to improve themselves crazily for the sake of ranking. That night, in the ancestral home of the Sun family, the confused Sun Qi was called to the ancestral temple. After seeing the old man standing in the hall, his eyes widened and he quickly shouted respectfully, "Sun Qi, a descendant of the Sun family, has met my great-grandfather. Except for meeting him once when he was a child. Now that he has grown up, this is the second time he has met the legendary old man of the Sun family. Come here." Sun Jianyu put down the bird cage and said seriously, "I heard from your aunt that you have reached the second level of transcendence." "Yes, great-grandfather." Speaking of this, Sun Qi felt a little proud. With this level of cultivation, he is definitely a young genius. If it had been in the previous session, he would have even won the top prize in Linkang City's martial arts exam. Coupled with his own natural ability, he can even touch the top 10 in Zhongnan War Zone. What a pity. Linkang City has an A-level talent named Lin Shui. Extraordinary second level, coupled with your spiritual talent. Sun Jianyu said, and suddenly sighed, "Oh, it's still too weak. How can you get on the list of geniuses with just this little thing?" Looking at Sun Qi's confused expression, he didn't bother to explain. He continued, "Go to your aunt tomorrow morning and ask her to take you to Chixia Mountain for a trial. Since your realm cannot be improved, then improve your killing ability. Set a goal for you. Before the martial arts test, you can kill the mid-level second-level ferocious beast by yourself. If you can't finish it, don't come back. Sun Qi. I thank you." South of Linkang City, more than 50 miles away, there was a stretch of military camp. At this time, in a conference room, several warriors in military uniforms were discussing something. Their faces all showed a little excitement. A colonel said, "After 10 years of waiting, our people can finally take the martial arts exam." The people next to me also sighed with emotion. That is the Tianyuan secret realm. I hate that I was not born 30 years earlier. Maybe I can still be ranked among the geniuses. Old Lu, can't you calm down your big mouth? A female warrior said with a smile. You are an ordinary warrior, and you have no awakening talent. How can you be on the list of geniuses? Will you brag about it? Okay, don't be too proud. At the head, a majestic-looking middle-aged martial artist said, "The martial arts test in Linkang City is only the first round. The top 3 will compete with the winners from other cities in the Zhongnan War Zone for the second round. And at this time, those evildoers from hidden forces will also participate. How difficult is it to be on the list of geniuses? Speaking of which," he suddenly changed the topic and said with a smile, "But it's hard to come back, and we have to fight for it. Lao Ma, you are taking care of those 2 little guys, how are they now?" Named. He is a taciturn warrior. He stood up solemnly and replied, "Report to the chief. Yun Yi is already at the 5th level of extraordinary, has a good talent development rate, and has also learned a yellow level 7th level martial arts. Besides, that girl Lu Yi has reached the 6th level of transcendence and has mastered 2 Zon level martial arts." As soon as this statement came out, there was silence in the conference room. Someone said, "Old Ma, you are doing something big in silence. You have been hiding it from us, and you are just waiting for today." Others followed. "Lu Yi practices so fast. It's really scary. He. She is our trump card, she will definitely be able to kill at will. I can't wait to see the stunned expressions of those old guys. What Lin Shui, what Sun Qi, no match for our military geniuses." At this time, someone suddenly asked doubtfully, "By the way, I heard a few days ago that there is a newly rising genius in Linkang City, named Lu Chen." Hear this. Someone laughed and said, that little guy is a bit wet. His blood value increased so quickly because he took the body slew pill and he exchanged the items from our army. Baiweijo belongs to the military. He exchanged his meritorious deeds for the body sloughing pill so he could naturally find out. Combining the two, naturally, it can be deduced that Lu Chen gained 30 calories in 10 days, which is actually quite a lot of water. Juding Pavilion. In the Tianzi No. VIP training room. Amidst the slight roar, a culture chamber slowly rose. Under the transparent hatch, specially prepared nutrient solution was being discharged. Lu Chen's figure appeared. As the hatch opened automatically, he opened his eyes blankly and took off the oxygen mask. 5 days have passed so quickly. He sat up and waited for his consciousness to slowly recover. After a while, he walked out of the culture chamber. He tried to move his body, and suddenly there was a crackling sound, and the muscles of his whole body were full of strength. Indistinctly, the structure of the skin seemed to change. There were faint lines between each pore, connected into a whole. When the spiritual power was mobilized and the blood and qi rushed, the surface of the skin seemed to come alive, with a faint light flowing, as if covered with a shield. The strength of the body and the defense power have increased by at least 10 times. He clenched his fist. Lu Chen's eyes lit up. This earth marrow spirit liquid has something. Before I entered the incubator, I was already at the 9th level of the extraordinary realm, and now, my physical strength has reached a new level. The thought moved. Open the attribute panel. Zerg Overlord. Lu Chen. Age. 18. Qi and blood value. 249. 9th level of the extraordinary realm. Talent. Taming, affinity with animals. Skills. None. Martial arts. 4 seasons reincarnation fist Zon rank 8th grade. LV5 Tiger Cannon Fist Yellow rank 2nd grade. LV3 Small Thunder Blade Yellow rank 2nd grade. LV3. Body skills. Stepping on the steps Earth rank 2nd grade. LV2. Bound source insects. Blood-eating insects natural disaster type. Red frost number of offspring 625,000. Dao Yan insects functional type. Colorful clothes number of offspring 8071. Opening square bracket ... closing square bracket. Overall, the data is similar to before entering the incubator. The only change is that Kai has diligently reproduced a lot of offspring in these 5 days. In the previous 20 days, as Lu Chen's cultivation level improved, ordinary 2nd level beasts basically did not feed back much. They were all 0/10 of a value. After reaching the 9th level of transcendence, the blood value increased to 249 cards, and it was completely bottlenecked. If you want to rely on Hongshuang to feed back, you must do, breaking the level and swallowing, like the peak of the quasi-warrior before. And this time, if you want to enter the Rongqiao realm, there are 2 options. First, let Hongshuang swallow 102nd level peak beasts. Second, let Hongshuang swallow 10 3rd level beasts. These 2 conditions first exclude the second one. The 3rd level beast is extremely terrifying. It is equivalent to the flying realm of human warriors, which is far beyond what Lu Chen can deal with. Of course, if you use blood-sucking insects to pile up, it can also be achieved. But many people will definitely die. If I rely on myself to break through to the Rongqiao realm, I can only slowly polish it, at least half a year, and at most 3 to 5 years. Even if I take the 2nd level breakthrough pill, I have to prepare at least 10 pills. It's expensive, and there is also the risk of failure. Lu Chen knew it very well. If I polish it slowly, I can't wait. Binding this system is full of unknowns. If the fact that I control the natural disaster is exposed, who knows what will happen? Before those things happen, I must seize the time, improve myself, and cultivate the insect swarm. 102nd level peak beasts. Lu Chen shook his head, got up and put on his clothes. It's still the same reason. Linkang City is too small after all. The resources here can no longer keep up with Lu Chen's training speed. Martial arts exam. Martial arts exam. This time, I have a supernatural 9th level cultivation, plus stepping on the fighting and 4 seasons reincarnation fist. It shouldn't be difficult to get the first place in the Zhongnan war zone. Stepping on the fighting is a 2nd level body movement of the earth rank. Although it is not offensive, it is definitely one of the trump cards. Now, after spending a lot of money to feed Kai, It also relied on the Daoyan insect body that was reproduced to upgrade to the second level. And the 4 Seasons Reincarnation Fist of the 8th level of the Zon level was obtained after the evolution of the original 4 Seasons Fist. Although it has not reached the Earth level, its strength should not be underestimated. Of course, my biggest trump card is still the Red Frost in the form of flame. Liu Chen was full of confidence. When he reaches a larger platform, his improvement speed will take off again. He picked up his mobile phone and looked at it. The head teacher Zhang Jinming sent a lot of messages. Liu Chen, the martial arts exam is on the 7th. You will gather on the 6th and go to the venue together. You must return to school on the 5th. Please reply if you receive it. Liu Chen, if you give up the martial arts exam, tell the teacher that it is not shameful, you can still take the literary exam. The teacher supports you in the literary exam. The teacher heard that this martial arts exam is very difficult. Liu Chen, give it up. Literary exam. This is your way out. Liu Chen, where are you? Nothing happened to you, right? Opening square bracket, comma, closing square bracket. Besides that, Bai Weizhou also called me a lot. He left a lot of messages. His words were full of anxiety and worry. What's going on? Uncle Bai also advised me to give up the martial arts exam and switch to the liberal arts exam. What happened to this martial arts exam? Liu Chen was a little confused. But he was too lazy to figure it out. After a brief reply, he packed up his things and prepared to leave. Today is the 5th. According to the announcement, all martial arts candidates must gather at the Martial Arts Association Square tomorrow to prepare for the examination location. Liu Chen was stuck. With the storage ring given by Juding Pavilion, it is much easier to pack up. When leaving, Liu Chen was still a little reluctant to give up. Seeing Liu Bingren arriving in a hurry, Liu Chen threw the card sent by Shen Chenyan over. Old Liu, please keep the balance. Okay, my little friend is happy. Liu Bingren's face was full of joy and he completed the operation quickly. The printed bill alone is several meters long. More than 4 billion, just gone. Liu Chen shook his head, feeling a little emotional. The biggest expense, still on Kai. After the first batch of comprehension materials was consumed, Liu Chen made several more batches. Only in this way can Bu Gang Step Fight and 4 Seasons Reincarnation Fist be upgraded several levels. Besides, in order to increase the strength of the physical body, I purchased 5 copies of Earth Marrow Spirit Liquid, which also cost a lot. As for the corpses of ferocious beasts, they have small heads. After settlement is completed, Liu Chen waved his hand, said goodbye to Liu Bingren, and left directly. The top floor of Juding Pavilion. The big shopkeeper looked at the figure of the young man below and drank tea happily. Behind him stood his grandson. He also participated in this martial arts exam. Did you see? That person is Liu Chen. He is in the same class as you and is probably at the first level of transcendence. This guy has lost his ambition by playing with things and burned billions of refining medicines. What can't he do with this money? Just play with refining medicines. Is this something ordinary warriors can play? Destroy 3 generations. Huang Yongxiao said, sneering and shaking his head. Turning his head to look at his grandson. If you encounter him during the martial arts test, you can take him directly. The winning rate is relatively high. Hear this. The young man next to him said doubtfully, Grandpa, you said he was very strong last time. A-level talent, which increases the health value by 30 calories in 10 days. Those are all rumors, and Grandpa was also deceived. Huang Yongxiao smiled and said, there is news from the Linkang military that a non-commissioned officer named Bai Weizhou used his meritorious deeds for most of his life to exchange for 3 body slew pills and gave them to Liu Chen. Besides, at that time, in the secret realm of S23, according to the account of one of the participants, Shen Linlin, a big shot, made a review. It was just a coincidence that the flame snake was killed by Liu Chen. After an explanation, Huang Yongxiao continued. This little guy even attracted the attention of Senior Chu Yuanlong. He is the 9th level of the Grandmaster. It's a pity that he is a parallel import. When the tide recedes, it will be clear who is the dragon and who is the fool in the martial arts competition. Chapter 31. At the same time, south of Linkang City, deep in Chixia Mountain. The young man was covered in blood, his clothes were in tatters, and his face was full of ferocity. More than 10 meters away from him, a mid-level second-order diamond ape was roaring crazily and beating its chest. The 6-meter-tall body was also covered with scars. There is even an alloy sword stuck on the side waist. Come again, Sun Chi roared and rushed over. The left and right hands each hold weapons, and they actually perform different combat skills at the same time. At the same time, he squeezed his mental power and released his mental attack again. Buzz. There were ripples in the void, sweeping forward like water waves. After this operation, Sun Chi felt dizzy, and his eyes and ears were bleeding continuously. I can do it. I can definitely do it. Gritting his teeth, he continued to charge forward and fought with the Vajra ape. Ever since he was thrown into the depths of Chixia Mountain by Grandpa Tai, he has been in a battle. Either the beast dies or he dies. And the people in the family really don't care. I was almost beaten to death several times, but no one showed up to save me. This disillusioned him. In Chixia Mountain, crazy and life-threatening. This is not the first time the second-order mid-level diamond ape in front of him has fought against him. From almost being killed, to gradually being able to entangle, to finally making that beast bleed. Sun Chi has been making progress. What he didn't know was, above the sky, two figures were looking down silently. It was Sun Junyu and Sun Chenyan. I'm just saying. How can the Sun family's seed be worse than others? Sun Junyu plated walnuts with a big smile on his face. This little guy is growing faster than I thought. He is also more skilled in the use of spiritual talents. Maybe I can really get on the list of geniuses. But then again, the old man turned his head and looked at Sun Chenyan. I originally said that I would let him kill the mid-level second-level ferocious beast, but I just thought it could be done theoretically, so I casually said, after you brought him here, why did you really give this order? Quote. Sun Chenyan blinked, feeling numb for a moment. Looking at Sun Chi below, who was so miserable, the corner of her mouth twitched. I have to say, your theory has always been correct. Ha 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 ha. Sun Junyu laughed, as if he thought of something, and suddenly said, I wonder how that little guy Lu Chen is doing now. Heard this topic, Sun Chenyan's face softened a little. Those guys all think that my godbrother is a parallel importer. Let's see how they turn over when the time comes. So far, Sun Chenyan was the only one who had close contact with Lu Chen. She doesn't believe in the body sloughing pill or the coincidence of killing the flame snake in a secret realm. And, throughout Linkang City, there were rumors that the Sun family had killed 2 people from the Du family for Lu Chen's Tianpin inner elixir. But Sun Chenyan knew it. He didn't even do anything. Du Shanghe, who was at the second level of fusion, and Du Feng. Lu Chen must have committed suicide himself. She went there at that time and felt the aura of the Du family's skills on Lu Chen. Certainly, the Sun family will definitely not expose this information. I heard that Lu Chen has been refining medicine in Juding Pavilion this month. Sun Junyu asked doubtfully. Do you think it's possible? Sun Chenyan laughed softly and said, from what I understand, Xiaochen is definitely not a person who wastes his time. Hear this. The old man suddenly turned his head. He asked jokingly, Shen Yan, you are already over 30, yet you have never thought about finding a partner. The road to martial arts is never a solitary one. A wealthy couple's law and land are indispensable. I think that little guy Lu Chen is quite suitable. At Sun's house. Apart from him, Sun Chenyan is the only one in the air control realm. You need to be gifted, capable, and have pretty good means. Although the old man has not made a public announcement yet. But in fact, the Sun family has been left to her to take care of, and she is cultivating it subtly. So many years, I have never seen a man, the future leader of the Sun family, interested in. But now, there is one. Just a bit young. Grandpa. After being stunned for a moment, Sun Chenyan's face turned slightly red. If I were 20 years younger, I would definitely catch Xiao Chen, but now. I am devoted to martial arts, and I am determined to do so. Sun Junyu smiled and said no more. Martial Arts Association, Headquarters. As the defender of Linkang City, Yang Zhen also has considerable power behind him. At this time, there were 3 figures standing in front of him, all of whom were taking the martial arts exam. He glanced over and spoke softly. Shui, you are now at the 4th level of the Transcendent Realm. You may not be as good as the two geniuses in the military, but you have A-level ice talent. Your only opponent is that Sun Chi. That little guy, although he is just a fool, he has spiritual talent after all, which should not be underestimated. In front of him, Lin Shui nodded. She was afraid of society and didn't say much. Jing Chong, Wang Xiaojun, you two are a little less powerful, but you are still awakened. In the last session, you must be in the top 5. But this year is the first year of the martial arts exam reform, and there are more military geniuses. My requirement for you is to keep the top 10 and strive for the top 5. Looking at the determined expressions on the two people's faces, Yang Zhen was quite pleased. The Martial Arts Association recruited children from poor families. Seeing these little guys stand out, Yang Zhen was also happy from the bottom of his heart. At this time, he seemed to remember something and continued. Although the content of this martial arts exam has not been announced yet, I can reveal a little in advance. The most important thing is that you can form a team. Hearing this, Lin Shui suddenly raised her head and asked, Commander Yang, can I form a team with Lu Chen? Lu Chen, Yang Zhen frowned slightly. Yes, you can, but you have to remember. Lu Chen is not as strong as the rumors say. When choosing teammates, it is better to be strong. Oh, Lin Shui didn't say much. Whether Lu Chen is strong or not, she must know in her heart. At that time in the secret realm, when Lu Chen released that flame, her innate ability was running and even sluggish. There is only one situation like this. Lu Chen's flame level is much higher than her own ice ability. And Lin Shui herself is already an A-level talent. Not long ago, Yang Zhen also asked about the specific situation in the secret realm. But Lin Shui didn't say it. One is social phobia, and the other is that she doesn't want to say it. Linkang City, military base. In the youth training camp, more than a dozen high-spirited boys and girls stood in a row, their eyes sparkling. In front of them is the instructor Ma Peijin. This martial arts exam is the first time the military has participated, and they attach great importance to it. The chief instructor arranged as a 7th-level sky-controlling cultivator, and his strength is considered top in the entire Linkang City. If there is more, I won't say it. For this martial arts exam, all the major cities in Daxia have military geniuses participating. Although our Linkang City is not big, it is not the worst. If you can all advance to the second round, it will really make me proud. The first round of the martial arts exam is an internal screening of each city. Only the top 10 geniuses are eligible to enter the second round and compete with the qualifiers from other cities in the Zhongnan War Zone. At this time, after Ma Peijin said a few words, his eyes fell on the two people in front of him. Yun Yi, Lu Yi. You two, whether it is cultivation, talent, or fighting ability in battle, are top-notch. This martial arts exam, it's no problem to get the top 3, right? As soon as this was said, the eyes of other candidates all looked at the two in the middle, with admiration in their eyes. In the army, strength is respected. As long as you can convince others, you will be recognized and respected. And Yun Yi and Lu Yi obviously did this. Yun Yi said with a smile, report to the instructor. I promise to complete the task. I dare not say that I will take the first place, that is Yi's, I will take the second place. Lu Yi calmed down and said calmly, Instructor, I can issue a military order. I will never return to the camp if I don't take the first place. Early the next morning, in the whole Linkang City, all the students who participated in the martial arts examination went to the Martial Arts Association one after another. There were 47 people participating in Linkang No. 3 Middle School. For this reason, a car was specially chartered. In the car, Zhang Jinming sat next to Lu Chen and gave the final persuasion. You are young and don't know a lot of things, but the teacher will never lie to you. This martial arts examination is said to be the first after the reform, and it is extremely dangerous. Although you are an awakener, you have the life system taming talent. Compared with those combat talents, you can't compete. Listen to the teacher and take the literary examination. I can ask the principal to complete the procedures for you. He was about to continue to say something. The break sounded suddenly, and it had arrived. Lu Chen stood up, patted Zhang Jinming on the shoulder, and said with a smile, Class leader, I remember a few years ago, there was a martial arts student in our No. 3 middle school who won the 3rd place in Linkang City. Did his class teacher get a bonus of 1 million? Sudden words. Zhang Jinming was stunned for a moment, and nodded subconsciously. Yes, more than 1.2 million. I went to his house to drink a celebratory drink at that time. Lu Chen continued. Then you should prepare, book a hotel, at least get 20 tables. Zhang Jinming pushed his glasses and asked in confusion, why book a hotel, to eat your feast? Lu Chen. I was offended. There was nothing wrong with the words, but Zhang Jinming felt weird when he said it. The entire Jiangnan war zone has a total of 72 citadels. Linkang City is not ranked among them at all, and is even at the bottom. After all, geographically, it is too far away from the main base of the war zone. It is almost the frontier of Jiangnan and borders the Guanghai war zone. This also leads to the small scale of martial arts in Linkang City, and there are few talented seedlings. The number of people participating in the martial arts exam in the whole city is only 1,000. At this time, they have all gathered and stood excitedly in the square in front of the Martial Arts Association. Crowded, all the boys and girls are ambitious and ready to do a big job. In addition, the surrounding streets are crowded with parents of students and people watching the excitement. It can be said that thousands of people are empty. Lu Chen also stood in the crowd of martial arts candidates. Bored, waiting silently. According to the past practice, there will be a big boss of the Martial Arts Association who will stand up and speak and announce the content of the martial arts exam. But this time, it seems different. I only heard the noise around, and it suddenly quieted down, as if someone pressed a switch. There were sounds of people sucking in cold air. There were also a few whispers. Grandmaster, it's Senior Tianlejian. He can replace him. Who is bragging? Stand up and let everyone see. Quote. Lu Chen looked up. A figure was slowly stepping into the void from the front. This person had a resolute face and a long sword. Every step seemed to be on the stairs of the 5 elements. Tianlejian, Chu Yuanlong, Grandmaster 9. The last time he left the city, Lu Chen saw this big guy on the bus, but he didn't expect to see him here again. With close perception, he could feel the sharp sword intent more and more. Cold, piercing, and trembling. No wonder it's said that this martial arts exam is the beginning of a revolution. It's extremely extraordinary. Even a great figure of the 9th level of the Grandmaster actually condescended to be the host. For Linkang City, this level of strong people is basically a legendary existence. After all, the strongest person in Linkang is only the 1st level of the Grandmaster. Lu Chen's heart suddenly surged with blood. A sense of fighting rose. Traveling to this world where martial arts is supreme, deep in his heart, isn't there a bit of youthful spirit? Step on the clouds and hold power. Stand on the top of the wave. Of course, the premise is not to reveal his identity as the master of the Zerg. And at this time, Chu Yuanlong stood still in the void, standing with his hands behind his back, looking at the thousands of candidates below, and slowly said, "Introduce myself. My name is Chu Yuanlong. I am the Vice President of Jiangnan Martial Arts Academy and Sword Cultivation Academy. I have the 9th level of Grandmaster Cultivation." Seeing that the candidates below were extremely excited, they looked like they wanted to vent. The long sword behind Chu Yuanlong trembled and hummed softly. There was a sudden silence. I won't say more. Anyway, I will host this martial arts exam in Linkang City. Now, I announce the rules of this martial arts exam. First, martial arts exams are risky. You have all signed the life and death agreement. But there is still one last chance. It's not too late to quit, he said, and looked down silently. Waited for a few seconds. No one quit. After nodding, Chu Yuanlong continued. Second, this martial arts exam adopts a point ranking system. Everyone enters the martial arts exam site and hunts beasts to get points. According to the strength of the beast, from the unentered to the peak of the 2nd stage, 1 point to 50 points. Quote. This rule is similar to the previous martial arts exams. All of them are proven by strength. The only difference is that there are more peak level 2nd stage beasts. After all, in the previous martial arts exams, the highest was only the middle stage of the 2nd stage. And Lu Chen in the crowd was moved. I don't know if there are many level 2 peak beasts in the examination room. If there are enough 100 beasts, it just meets the conditions for promotion. His current blood value is 249 cards, which is at the peak of the 9th level of Transcendence. I want to enter the Rongqiao realm. Either rely on self-improvement or complete the devouring requirements given by the system. First, let Hongshuang devour 100 level 2 peak beasts. Second, devour 10 level 3 beasts. The second option is not very realistic and cannot be completed. But the first one, Lu Chen has the ability to do it, but he doesn't have so many beasts. And now, there are ready-made beasts in the martial arts examination venue. He is determined to win. And then, Chu Yuanlong spoke again and added a few additional explanations. Suddenly, everyone was stunned. In addition, there is a second point to add. In the central area of the examination room, there is a third-level early-stage beast, which is the ultimate assessment. After hunting, you can get 500 points. Those who are not strong enough, do not go. Another point is that this martial arts examination allows teams, with a maximum of 2 people. Team up to kill the beast, and the score is divided equally. Third-level beast, not to mention the thousands of martial arts candidates. Even the teachers in charge of the teams of major high schools were stunned. This level of beast is comparable to the sky-controlling realm of human warriors, and its lethality is extremely great. Usually, if a third-level beast appears outside the city of Linkang, an alarm will be sounded, and the military will have to arrange a company to clean it up. And now, it was actually put into the martial arts examination venue. Facing the surging discussion, Chu Yuanlong said lightly, the third-level beast is in a weak state. That's all. He added one last sentence. Third, the top 10 students in this martial arts exam in Linkang City will be led by me to the main base of the Zhongnan War Zone to fight against the qualified students from other cities. Then he retracted his gaze. He flew directly into the air and went to the martial arts exam venue first. In the square in front of the Martial Arts Association, all the martial arts students were talking about it. Many staff members interspersed among them and began to distribute scoring bracelets and other detailed instructions, such as rewards. Not long after, a staff member came to Lu Chen and handed him a few things. Student, this is your bracelet. You must wear it compulsorily. If you detach it during the martial arts exam, you will lose your qualification directly. In addition, this is an emergency teleportation bomb, there is only one. If you encounter a life-threatening situation, you will be teleported out by the formation after using it, but it also means the end of the martial arts exam. Quote. Lu Chen put on the bracelet and thanked him after listening. At this time, the head teacher Zhang Jinming came over. He called all the martial arts students from Linkang No. 3 middle school together and finally held a meeting. Time is tight, I'll just say a few things. First, no one is allowed to go to the central area. The third-level beasts are for geniuses, such as Lin Shui and the military. Second, do what you can. Nothing is more important than life. Third, you can form a team for this martial arts exam. Everyone hurry up to find teammates and complete the binding on the bracelet. After saying that, he looked at Lu Chen again. Alas, what can you do? If no one teams up with you, you basically can't get into the martial arts academy. After he finished speaking, he sighed again. His eyes turned to the other martial arts students in No. 3 middle school, and they avoided him one by one, for fear of being called out and teaming up with Lu Chen. However, at this moment, a timid voice suddenly came from behind. Hello Lu Chen, please ask, do you have teammates? Lin Shui said nervously. If not, can I team up with you? Zhang Jinming, candidates from Linkang No. 3 middle school. On the other side of the square, Bai Chuning hung up the phone with a bad look on her face. Her best friend saw this and asked worriedly, Chuning, what's going on? The martial arts exam is coming soon, you have to keep in good shape. Her cultivation is the same as Bai Chuning. After a month of hard training, they barely crossed the limit of quasi-martial artists and became extraordinary martial artists. The two of them had already agreed to form a team in the assessment. After all, it is a big deal about the future. It is understandable that the best friend is so worried. My dad's call, Bai Chuning said helplessly. He asked me to team up with Lu Chen and help him. Hearing this, Shu Qin beside him instantly felt like a gas tank was lit, taking a deep breath and about to start spraying. Then he heard Bai Chuning continue. My dad said that because he gave Lu Chen 3 transfiguration pills, it caused a lot of misunderstandings, so I must team up with Lu Chen to make up for it. A few days ago, the legend of Lu Chen was circulating among the top leaders of the entire Linkang city. For example, the blood value increased by 30 cards in 10 days. Possessing A-level fire talent. In the secret realm, he single-handedly killed the flame snake monster. These intelligence information about Lu Chen made everyone think that Linkang City had another peerless genius. Even Chu Yunlong, who was a 9th-level master, was alarmed. He also personally informed the Du family not to do anything to Lu Chen. But unexpectedly, in just a few days, a reversal occurred. Lu Chen's background was completely exposed. Naturally, it was found out about by Weizhou, and it was also known that he used most of his life's merits to exchange for the transmutation pill for Lu Chen. As for the things in the secret realm, through the oral account of one of the experiencers, Shen Linlin, there are also many loopholes. At least the A-level fire talent. It is absolutely false. After all, Linkang No. 3 Middle School had just done a survey of martial arts candidates not long ago, and Lu Chen only had one talent. Life system, domestication. It was because of these things that Bai Weizhou felt more and more sorry for Lu Chen. That's why she ordered her daughter to team up with Lu Chen. But on what basis? Let you lead a loser. Beside Bai Chu Ning, Shu Qin lowered her voice, her expression twisted. What on earth does your father think? Doesn't he know that this will affect your grades, and you may not even be admitted to the martial arts academy? Seeing Bai Chu Ning not speaking, she continued. Why do you have to repay the kindness of your father's generation? This is unfair. Chu Ning, you must fight this. Who would team up with a loser like Lu Chen? Isn't that mentally ill? She gave such an admonition, and a big reason was because of herself. Bai Chu Ning's strength was higher than hers. If the two of them succeeded in teaming up, it would definitely be of great benefit to herself. What had been agreed upon suddenly changed. Seeing that Bai Chu Ning didn't speak yet, she immediately became anxious. Just when she was about to say something fierce to help Bai Chu Ning make up her mind, there was suddenly a burst of noise around. She frowned and looked towards the noise. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Her eyes widened. Chu Ning, look over there, is that Lin Shui? Looking in the direction of the finger. Although she could only see a back figure, Bai Chu Ning was still sure and nodded. Beside her ear, she heard Shu Qin continue to say, then stand closer and take a look, is she looking for Lu Chen? Bai Chu Ning raised her head and glanced at her bestie inexplicably. Although she felt it was absurd in her heart, but she still walked over to take a look. Without the crowd blocking the way, the situation over there was clear at a glance. I saw Lin Shui standing timidly behind Lu Chen. It seemed that she mustered up the courage and finally said something. From Bai Chu Ning's angle, she could see that many people on Lu Chen's side turned around and were stunned. Among them, there were even several teachers from Linkang No. 3 Middle School. Suddenly, the square in front of the entire martial arts association became quiet. The people who were close to him passed a message to the back, and then stared at that side in a daze. The people in the back continued to pass the information. Everyone who knew what happened was as quiet as a chicken. Soon, Bai Chu Ning and the others also understood. Shu Qin seemed to be crazy, grabbing his hair with both hands, and muttering to himself in confusion. Why, what's the point? Why did Lin Shui ask him to form a team? At this time, Bai Chu Ning's eyes fell on that side, and suddenly she felt very uncomfortable. It was like, I can't accept it, but I can't let others get involved. Especially Lin Shui. Biting her lip, Bai Chu Ning suddenly took a step and walked towards Lu Chen. She wanted to form a team with Lu Chen. Unconsciously, her pace even quickened a little. Just halfway there, she saw Lu Chen shaking his head, looking at Lin Shui and saying, sorry, I don't need to form a team. The square was very quiet. This sentence also reached Bai Chu Ning's ears clearly. She was immediately very happy. At this moment, a twisted sense of pleasure rushed straight to the top of her head. Prompted her to shout directly, Lu Chen, let's team up. My dad just called. The focus of the whole audience instantly shifted to her. At this moment, Bai Chu Ning seemed to be at the highlight of her life. Without even looking at Lin Shui, she went straight to Lu Chen. With a smile on her face, she continued, "My dad just told me to team up with you. Don't worry, I will take good care of you, at least you can get the points to enter the martial arts academy." She couldn't wait for Lu Chen to agree. For this reason, she even brought up the phone call from Bai Weizhou. Bai Chu Ning always knew. Lu Chen especially respected his father and never disobeyed anything. When Bai Chu Ning thought that Lu Chen had just rejected Lin Shui and was about to agree to her, she felt a trembling feeling all over her body. Unexpectedly, Lu Chen's eyes turned cold, and he looked at her and said lightly, "No, I don't want to team up." Then, he left on his own. Get on the bus to the martial arts examination area. Bai Chu Ning was stunned, standing on the spot like a stone sculpture. The eyes around her were like blades, scraping her body. At this time, another genius seed in Linkang City, Sun Qi, the eldest son of the Sun family, came over and said disdainfully, "What kind of person is this? You also want to team up with my eldest brother?" Then, he didn't even bother to look at it. He flattered Lin Shui. "Lin, class leader, how about we team up?" Before he finished speaking, Lin Shui shook her head and said lightly, "Sorry, I don't need to team up either." What she said was exactly the same as Lu Chen. Seeing that she had also left, Sun Qi clicked his head and said to himself, "This is what the old man said, the strong always walk alone, and the weak will only go in groups. I want to learn from Boss Lu too." The crowd dispersed and got on the bus to the martial arts examination area. Not long after, a horn sounded, the last bus is about to leave. Martial arts students who haven't boarded the bus yet, please get on the bus quickly. Otherwise, the results will be invalidated. Bai Chu Ning, who had already broken the defense, lowered his head and walked over. Shu Qin followed behind her and comforted her, "Chu Ning, don't take it to heart." After saying some caring words, she then said viciously, "Lu Chen, that idiot, doesn't he really think he can do it? I want to see how many points he can get." Bai Chu Ning didn't say anything, but resentment appeared in her eyes. The vast convoy left Linkang City and headed east of the city. In front of the convoy, to the side, and even in the sky, they are all escorted by military personnel, so they are full of people. The martial arts candidates in each car became even more excited after seeing this scene, and they were all energetic and ready to show off their skills. More than an hour later, before 9 o'clock in the morning, all 1,300 martial arts candidates arrived at their destination. It didn't take long for the assembly to be completed. Lu Chen stood in the crowd, his eyes scanning the distance. On the left side in front of the queue, there are rows of stands, and some people are already sitting there, all of whom are powerful figures in Linkang City. After a quick glance, I even saw Sun Chenyan. The latter had obviously been paying attention to him. After meeting their gazes, Sun Chenyan even blinked in a funny way. Lu Chen also smiled and nodded as a greeting. Soon, he discovered again that there was another line of sight looking at him. With a sense of coldness and murderous intent, the head of the Du family, Du Hongtian. After all, they are life and death enemies. Lu Chen had already checked the Du family's information, and now that he saw it, he would naturally recognize it. After a pause for a few seconds, he looked away. "It won't be long. When I get the death-free gold medal, Shan order, I will reunite your whole family." Du Shanghe is at the 4th level of air control, and Lu Chen is definitely no match for him now. But now, he is already at the 9th level of transcendence. As long as he hunts 102nd level peak ferocious beasts, he can enter the fusion realm. Plus the blood-eating worms. Destroying one Du family is enough. After thinking about it in his mind, Lu Chen looked at the huge display screen in front of the stands. The screen is divided into left and right sides. Left part. Linkang City Martial Arts Examination Real-Time Ranking List. There are 300 ranking sequences in total, and they are all empty now. Right part. Linkang City Martial Arts Examination Scene Real-Time Picture. In this half of the area, content is already being played. It is from the drone's perspective, which is extremely clear. As the camera slowly passed by, many figures of ferocious beasts appeared on it. Some were looking for food, some were fighting, some were sleeping. At the same time, all the martial arts candidates also knew that the terrain of this martial arts examination was in a ruined county. Some of the high school teachers who led the team suddenly showed joy on their faces. The bet on the topic is correct. After all, the rules of martial arts exams may be the same every year, but the venues are different from time to time. If you guess the terrain correctly, the martial arts candidates in your school will gain a geographical advantage to a certain extent. At Linkang No. 3 Middle School, Zhang Jinming's face didn't look good. Walking to Lu Chen and others, he lowered his voice and said quickly, "Our school focuses on mountainous terrain, and the same is true for your training. I won't say much more," he said hastily. "The terrain of ruins and several basic essentials have been consolidated over and over again by you. You must learn and apply them. Calm down, careful, and bold. Each high school has limited teaching resources, and it is impossible to simulate actual combat in every martial arts examination area." Just when Zhang Jinming opened his mouth, he still wanted to elaborate on something. Over there at the front, Chu Yuanlong's voice came over. "It's now 8:55, and in 5 minutes, this martial arts test will begin. No more nonsense. Everyone, check the distributed equipment and prepare to enter." After finishing speaking, Chu Yuanlong's gaze fell on a few talented young people. The power of the Martial Arts Association. Extraordinary 4th level, awakening A-level ice talent, Lin Shui. Local family power. Extraordinary 3rd level, awakening B-level spiritual talent, Sun Qi from the Sun family. Extraordinary 3rd level, awakening B-level earth element talent, Juding Pavilion Huang Tai. Linkang military forces. Extraordinary 5th level, awakening B-level power talent, Yun Yi. Extraordinary 6th level, awakening B-level control talent, Lu Yi. These 5 are almost the most brilliant seeded contestants in this martial arts test in Linkang City. The worst ones are all at the 3rd level of transcendence, and they are also awakened ones. As for the others, they are more than a step weaker. After observing silently for a few seconds, Chu Yunlong's eyes returned to Lin Shui with a touch of appreciation. The strength has reached his level. Naturally, I have long understood that in martial arts, talent determines the upper limit. Regardless of the 2 seeds in the military, they are far ahead in terms of cultivation, but after all, they are only B-level talents. This girl is very nice. Whether it's talent or character, they are all top-notch. It's a piece of raw jade. Chu Yunlong was in a good mood. He had contacted Lin Shui in advance, offering an olive branch on behalf of Zhongnan Martial Arts Academy, and the latter also accepted it. This time I came to Linkang City, I definitely gained a lot. What a pity. I thought that 2A-level awakened beings would really be born in this little Linkang City. Chu Yuanlong was very surprised when he heard about Lu Chen before. He even used his own abilities to check Lu Chen's information, but he didn't expect to find out later that everything was just rumors. Of course, this kind of thing is just a small episode. Chu Yunlong didn't take it to heart. After sighing for a moment, he silently waited for the martial arts test to begin. 5 minutes passed quickly. More than 1,000 candidates were divided into dozens of columns and began to enter quickly. At the entrance of the ruined town, there is a light belt area more than 20 meters long, which is hazy and unclear. It is said to be the latest array equipment. It can teleport targets within a certain range. For example, those who participate in the martial arts examination will be randomly teleported to the outer area of the ruins after entering the light belt area. And those who have already been bound by the bracelet and formed a team will be teleported together. In the stands, a group of Linkang City high-level officials were stunned. After all, the martial arts era has been almost 1,000 years, and this kind of thing has never appeared. In the past martial arts examinations, candidates were divided into many groups and entered the examination site from different directions to achieve a fair effect. Chu Yuanlong, who was sitting in the center, was also amazed in his heart. Those hidden forces are not useless. At least in terms of array formations, they are completely ahead of the official. In order to obtain the qualification this time, they have handed in a lot of good things. Thinking of this, Chu Yuanlong's heart was a little throbbing. After 500 years of silence, the Tianyuan secret realm is finally about to open. Because of this martial arts exam has specially set up a list of geniuses. With the participation of the military and hidden forces, the competition for quotas is definitely fierce. Several S-level awakeners have been exposed in the main base. Alas, this is a world of great contention. Thinking about it, Chu Yuanlong suddenly sighed. There is a kind of helplessness of being born at the wrong time. It was like being washed by a faint water ripple. When Lu Chen passed through the entrance light band, his consciousness paused for a moment, and he was already teleported to the martial arts examination area. As far as the eye can see, there are uneven ruins of buildings. This description may not be accurate, because only the outline of the building can be seen, and the surface is covered with various vines. Layer upon layer, airtight. In the distance, there are many strange giant trees, with intertwined roots, making the entire town ruins look like an ancient jungle. Too quiet. Just a simple glance, Lu Chen can judge that this place is much more dangerous than S23. Take out the standard alloy sword from the backpack. Press the switch, and half of the blade will be extended and retracted, with a total length of nearly 1.5 meters. Officially issued things, the quality is quite good. After weighing it in his hand, Lu Chen identified the direction and started to rush all the way. The unclassified beasts on the periphery have no appeal to him. The middle layer, or even the area close to the core, is his destination. We have to speed up. There must not be many level 2 peak beasts in this examination room. For others, this martial arts examination is to get more points and try to get a good ranking. But for Lu Chen, getting a ranking is only secondary. The more important thing is to break through to the Rongqiao realm. It is a rare opportunity. The official has released a large number of level 2 peak beasts in the martial arts examination venue. Of course, we must seize it. As for whether there are enough 100, we have to kill them first. Lu Chen's figure kept bouncing and jumping, passing over the wreckage of various buildings. Even if he encountered a beast, he would not take action and try to save time. He must arrive at the first time and then start harvesting. Missing one and being killed by others is a huge loss. Although I don't know the strength of the others. But the official dared to release the level 2 peak, which means someone can kill it. This ruin is still too big. It will take me another half an hour to reach my destination. No, it has to be faster. Lu Chen no longer hesitated and directly used stepping on the divine step. As the spiritual power surged, his entire body suddenly became erratic, and every landing point of his feet also contained the arrangement of stars. After all, it was a ground-level body technique. Even if he didn't use his full strength, in this terrain, Lu Chen's speed soared by nearly 10 times. Swish! The surrounding air was squeezed by high intensity and made a piercing whistle. So strong. Lu Chen was shocked. He had only tried it briefly in the training room of Juding Pavilion before. And now there is no obstacle, and with full strength, it is just like a meteorite passing by. Under the strong gas explosion, many buildings that passed by even collapsed. This body movement is born for fighting, and complements martial arts. It's a waste to use it to travel. Lu Chen shook his head and slowed down a little to avoid consuming too much spiritual power. He is only at the 9th level of the extraordinary level now. If it continues for a long time, the spiritual power supply will not keep up. At the same time, all the martial arts candidates have been in place outside the entire martial arts examination field. And the people who formed a team before, after binding their information through the bracelet, were teleported together nearby. Bai Chuning and Shu Qin had already reunited. After all, they are martial artists in the extraordinary realm. If they rush, it is very likely that they will be in the top 20, not to mention the top 10 in Linkang City. After calculating for a while, Bai Chuning said, "There are all beasts that have not entered the level here. Let's not waste time and go directly to the central area. Kill them all the way. When we reach the distribution area of the first level beasts, we will start to sweep." Shu Qin nodded. In terms of tactics, she must have unconditional trust in Bai Chuning. After all, the latter's father is also a member of the Linkang military staff. He must have some real skills under his influence. After determining the overall strategy, under the command of Bai Chuning, the two women began to move towards the target area, and the journey was smooth. More than 10 minutes later, taking advantage of the break, Shu Qin pressed the bracelet and flipped through the ranking information. After swiping on the screen a few times, she lowered her voice and said in surprise, "Chu Ning. You are ranked 13th, and I am 14th. Wow, we are so awesome." Tiandao said this. Bai Chuning was also in a good mood. Nodding and saying, the two of us just complement each other in terms of combat power. You fight in close combat and I attack from a distance, which complements each other. Although they are not awakened. But both women have learned martial arts. As long as the mentality is maintained, it is not a big problem. After saying a few words, Bai Chu Ning also opened the ranking information and looked at the top 10 people. First, Yun Yi, 79 points, Lin Kang military. Second, Lu Yi, 73 points, Lin Kang military. Third, Lin Shui, 62 points, Lin Kang city heavenly selection class. Fourth, Sun Qi, 56 points, Lin Kang city heavenly selection class. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. After Bai Chu Ning finished looking at the top 10, she continued to slide the screen. When she saw her own name, she skipped it directly. Seeing her actions, Shu Qin smiled and said, Chu Ning, you are looking for Lu Chen's ranking. As she said that, she stretched out her hand directly. A line of information was displayed on the screen of the bracelet she was wearing. Number 1324, Lu Chen, 0 points, Lin Kang number 3 middle school. After Bai Chu Ning saw it clearly, Shu Qin sneered. That guy is really a waste. He ranks last. It's almost 20 minutes now, and he still has 0 points. Even if he kills a few beasts that have not entered the rank, it will be more than this. He seemed to remember everything before. Then he said, fortunately, you didn't team up with him, otherwise you would be dragged to death. After killing the beast, half of the points will be given to that guy. Bai Chu Ning was silent and didn't speak. But there was an indescribable feeling in his heart. Confused and scared. If Lu Chen is really so bad, why did Lin Shui team up with him? Forget it, why think so much? After the martial arts exam, she and Lu Chen will be completely people from two different worlds. Even her father Bai Weizhou can't force her to do anything. After tying her hair again, Bai Chu Ning said softly, let's go. Let's work harder. Keep the ranking in the top 20. Outside world. On the stands, all the Lin Kang high-level officials were looking at the huge screen in front of them. The ranking sequence on the left kept jumping, but the top 5 were very stable. The picture on the right was fixed on Yun Yi, the military prodigy. The young man was not carrying any weapons, and was fighting with several first-level beasts with his bare hands. With the terrifying power, each punch had a force of 1,000 pounds, which was completely crushing. Next to Chu Yuanlong sat the head of the Lin Kang military, named Song Wuyong. At this time, he smiled and introduced. The awakened ability of Yun Yi is the B-level earth power, which can use the energy of the earth veins to launch attacks. In addition, he also mastered the military's yellow level 7th grade combat skills, Shaking Mountain Fist. Even if he controls the troops of a city and holds real power, he is an absolute pyramid top figure in Lin Kang City. When facing Chu Yuanlong, a 9th level master, Song Wuyong was still humble, even a little flattering. In the face of absolute strength, rights must also give way. His introduction was naturally to recommend Yun Yi to Chu Yuanlong. What if the latter took a liking to him and accepted him as his disciple? After hearing this, Chu Yuanlong just nodded lightly. His eyes moved to the left side of the screen, glanced at it and continued, turn on the scrolling mode, let me see the overall data. As the command was issued, the ranking sequence on the screen began to scroll. Before, only the top 100 could be seen. And now, the ones ranked behind also began to show up, and 2 minutes later, it was at the end. Suddenly, everyone was stunned for a moment. Because the last place has 0 points. This is unscientific. The outermost part of the martial arts examination site is clearly full of beasts that have not entered the rank, even martial artists below the extraordinary can deal with them. How could it be 0? And the principal of Lin Kang number 3 middle school and several other leaders in the back rows of the stands all broke out in cold sweats instantly. Because the guy ranked last was from No. 3 middle school. Due to the situation, no one dared to get angry, and they could only sit there gritting their teeth. At this time, Chu Yuanlong suddenly frowned and arranged, find Lu Chen's location and point the surveillance drone at him. If it was someone else, he would just take a glance at him. But it was Lu Chen. A person who left an impression on Chu Yuanlong. At this moment, as Chu Yuanlong's order was issued, the people in the equipment department in the rear immediately took action. Before, there were only 3 or 5 drones, cruising at a long distance, switching perspectives from time to display on the screen. And now, all the 20 drones parked in the martial arts examination area are activated. The right side of the huge display screen is also divided into 20 small screens, all of which are rapidly searching for Lu Chen's traces. Time passed slowly. The entire outer area of the examination room was carpet searched, but no one was found. The manager of the equipment department hurriedly ran down the stage. He roared in a low voice, "A bunch of idiots. Turn on the positioning. The martial arts examination bracelet has positioning." A group of operators woke up from a dream and hurriedly followed suit. Soon, the perspectives of the 20 drones disappeared, replaced by Lu Chen's positioning coordinates. In the picture, a light spot is moving rapidly. Chu Yuanlong looked at it with a frown. What's going on? Is there something wrong with the equipment? How can Lu Chen be so fast? In almost a flash, the light spot has swept across dozens of meters. Not to mention that the extraordinary realm can't do it. Even the fusion realm is completely impossible. The pressure of the 9th level of the Grandmaster made no one in the audience calm. The atmosphere became tense in an instant. There are only 2 possibilities in this situation now. First, the equipment is wrong. But now it is a martial arts exam, one of the basic national policies of the entire Daxia, and it is extremely important. If this problem really occurs, there will definitely be a lot of people held accountable. And the second possibility, Lu Chen is dead. The positioning bracelet is in the belly of the beast, and it is being carried forward at a rapid speed. Report to the chief. We are in the core area, and there are drones monitoring the 3rd level beasts. Please use them to go to Lu Chen's front path. The head of the equipment department was sweating profusely and asked for instructions. Relying on the peripheral drones, it is no longer possible to catch up with the light spot representing Lu Chen, so we can only use the ones in the depths. After getting the promise, he immediately arranged for people to start the execution. Time. It passed by minute. There was a dead silence in the stands. These high-level officials from all parties in Linkang City all looked solemn and stared at the display screen silently. In the crowd, Sun Chenyan looked worried and wanted to rush in to save people. The old man next to him, Sun Junyu, was calm. He still drank tea slowly. He even dipped his finger in some tea and wrote on the table, "Don't panic, that kid is not destined to die." After writing, he signaled with his eyes and glanced to the other side. Sitting there was the head of the Du family, Du Hongtian. The old guy also stared at the screen with expectation in his expression. It would be better to die. He must die in there. He killed Du Feng, the awakener of the Du family, and caused the Du family to lose Du Shanghe, a master of the Rongqiao realm. Lu Chen must die. This is a blood feud. Although Du Hongtian also knew that the one who killed the 2 Du family members must be Sun Chenyan from the Sun family. He even sorted out the clues. Lu Chen gave the Tianpin inner elixir to the Sun family and asked Sun Chenyan for help to solve the problem of Du Feng and Du Shanghe. But the Sun family is a giant in Linkang City. The current Du family is far from being an opponent, and can only transfer all the hatred to Lu Chen. At this time, following the old man's sight, Sun Chenyan was slightly startled when he saw Du Hongtian. Then he was relieved. Even the Rongqiao realm can be killed, how could Lu Chen have an accident in the martial arts exam? After excluding this option, there is only one possibility left. Lu Chen's speed may be so terrifying that it shocked Senior Tianlegian. Looking at the display screen, Sun Chenyan felt that his heartbeat was accelerating wildly. The drone that set off from the depths was about to overlap with the light spot. In the picture, the drone had stopped and waited silently. In the stands, everyone held their breath. Here it comes. As the light spot arrived, nothing appeared in the picture. This is very strange. At this moment, Sun Chenyan suddenly found that the old man next to her stood up with a look of shock. What's going on? Just when she was about to ask, Chu Yuanlong, who was in the first row in front of the stands, also stood up. As if suppressing some emotions, he hurriedly said, "Slow down the picture just now. Fast, fast, fast." After a few seconds, the intercepted picture began to be slowed down twice. Until then, everyone found that there was a figure flashing in the picture, like a starlight passing by, flashing away. If you don't look carefully, you can't find it at all. Slow down. Adjust to 10 times. Chu Yuanlong's voice was unconsciously much louder. With the 10 times slow motion turned on, Lu Chen's figure was finally fully displayed. I saw his steps, stepping on a strange angle, obviously not walking in a straight line, but surprisingly fast. Faintly, there were wisps of starlight covering his body, as if he was wearing a starlight cloak. Chu Yuanlong widened his eyes, unconsciously took a few steps forward, and stopped at the edge of the stand. On the display screen, the slow-motion picture was played repeatedly. Chu Yuanlong looked at the starlight, and felt a throbbing in his heart, shocked beyond words. Earth level. It must be an Earth-level body movement. As a great man of the 9th level of the Grandmaster, he naturally knew that only the Earth-level skills could trigger the phenomena of heaven and earth. Lu Chen is only in the extraordinary realm now. If he is in the master realm, when he uses this body technique, he can even turn the day into night and condense the stars within a certain range. Taking a few deep breaths, Chu Yuanlong suppressed the shock in his heart. Turning back to his seat, he said, "Continue to follow Lu Chen and lock him." This is really a big surprise. A bigger surprise than Lin Shui. Apart from anything else, Chu Yuanlong can even conclude that Lu Chen can be on the upcoming Tianzhou list just by relying on this body technique. Alas, if his cultivation is higher, maybe he can compete with those S-level monsters. Chu Yuanlong smiled bitterly and shook his head, thinking that he was too greedy. On the seat behind him, Sun Chenyan looked excited and his face was flushed. He took out his mobile phone and typed, "Great-grandpa, is Xiaoqin's body technique an Earth-level body technique?" After seeing the old man nod, she added, "But the ground-level skills are impossible to exist in Linkang City. Moreover, the ground-level skills are too powerful, and only the Grandmaster level can control them." The old man shook his head. Sun Chenyan wanted to ask something else. Suddenly, a startled voice came from his ear, "Look at the ranking. Look at the ranking. Someone has landed in the top 10. As soon as the voice fell on the display screen, the drone's perspective finally caught up with Lu Chen. In the picture, he was slaughtering the peak beast of the 2nd level. The sword in his hand was like thunder, swift and fierce. Chopping, slashing, slicing, chopping. It was like the sickle of the god of death, constantly leaving horrible wounds on a red flame leopard. Weird body movements, avoiding the flames. Every time he appeared, the long sword in his hand would make it more difficult for the red flame leopard. Roar. A few more breaths passed. The more than 3-meter-long red flame leopard was covered in blood and fell to the ground. On the ground, Lu Chen suddenly raised his head and grinned at the drone in the sky. "Don't look at it. I'm timid and shy, I'll be embarrassed." Then he threw the sword in his hand and hit the drone accurately. Beep. In front of the outside stands, the monitoring screen suddenly turned black. Above the stands, there was deathly silence. Sitting in the corner area is the school leader of Linkang No. 3 Middle School. Lu Chen's class teacher Zhang Jinming was also among them. At this time, his eyes widened, and he was completely confused. Is this really Lu Chen? Students in your own class? Of all the people present, probably no one was more shocked than him. After all, as a good teacher, Zhang Jinming has always paid close attention to Lu Chen. After all, the latter's cultural achievements are among the top in the school. But such a good young talent needs to be ready to apply for the martial arts exam. He and Lu Chen had talked about this matter countless times, and it was so heartbreaking. Until an hour before the martial arts test officially started, he was admonishing Lu Chen. Unexpectedly, did that kid hold back a big one? Looking at the screen that turned to black, Zhang Jinming blinked, and after the shock, the emotions in his heart began to surge into ecstasy. At this time, the principal tiptoed over and changed places with the person next to him. He lowered his voice and asked tremblingly, "Lao Zhang, what's going on? You wouldn't deliberately suppress the information to stimulate me, would you?" As the principal of Linkang No. 3 Middle School, he could fully expect that people from above would soon come to inquire and investigate, and they must first understand Lu Chen's information. "I really don't know." Zhang Jinming shook his head with a wry smile and said, "I have asked you for feedback many times about Lu Chen. His strength has always been the literary test. And, although this guy is an awakener, his awakened talent is domestication, and you have also seen the health test more than a month ago. The data cannot be false. The old principal was speechless. These words cannot cope with the people above. He thought for a while and then asked, didn't Lu Chen show any special performance or say some special words before the martial arts exam? Zhang Jinming recalled the moment and suddenly said, it really happened. In the old principal's expectant look, he continued, after Lu Chen gathered this morning, he asked me about the bonus and asked me to prepare a banquet reservation in advance, at least 20 tables. Hi, this kid, could it be that he had already planned it? Isn't he afraid of scaring me to death and eating my meal? Looking at Zhang Jinming, who looked excited, the old principal sighed and said no more. At the same time, at the equipment area behind the stands, the person in charge asked, Chief, do you still want to continue deploying drones? Chu Yuanlong smiled, no need. To be honest, the shock in his heart was no less than that of Zhang Jinming. After all, the latter was because of the contrast between Lu Chen, who was obviously talented in martial arts, but became a dark horse in the martial arts exam. And what about Chu Yuanlong? As one of the vice presidents of the Zhongnan Martial Arts Academy, he is also at the 9th level of Grandmaster in terms of cultivation, and his name is the famous Thunder Sword in Great Sha. This kind of existence naturally has a very broad vision. From Lu Chen's brief attack, he could tell that Lu Chen was definitely not a quasi-warrior. This kid is at least the 5th level of extraordinary. Although the sword and martial arts skills displayed are of low grade, their mastery is extremely high. What does this mean? This shows that Lu Chen not only learned the earth-level body skills, but also has extraordinary high-level cultivation. He even has a high level of talent in the art of swordsmanship. What a genius! In Chu Yuanlong's heart, his opinion of Lu Chen rose again, from surprise to astonishment. When the martial arts test is over, take him to the martial arts academy to sharpen his skills. Maybe there will be a big surprise. Daxia has 8 war zones. In this martial arts examination, each war zone will select at different levels to select the best batch of genius seeds to participate in the competition for the genius list. As you can imagine, the competition is fierce. Moreover, the battle for the genius list has a deeper meaning. That is, the allocation of resources to each war zone. Whichever war zone has more people selected into the prodigy list will be allocated more resources. In Chu Yuanlong's opinion, with Lu Chen's strength, he would definitely be on the list. Even if it can't compare to those monsters who have awakened S-level talents, at least they are at the front of the second echelon. Thinking of this, Chu Yuanlong became even more excited. As for blowing up drones, so what? What kind of genius boy doesn't care about his own privacy? It's normal to be a little unruly. Looking at the ranking area again, Lu Chen saw that without any surprise, he had already reached the first place. First, Lu Chen, 324 points, Linkang number 3 middle school. And at this time, Yun Yi, who was ranked second, was barely above 100. Lu Chen didn't know what was happening in the outside world. At this time, after destroying the drone and checking the surrounding area, he confirmed that there was no detection equipment. So he called out Hongshuang and let it turn into flame form and start to devour it. The hunted, second-level peak beasts shrank in an instant, leaving only their skin exuding a burnt smell. Devouring requirements. 7/100ths. Lu Chen's eyes flashed and he began to continue hunting. There are only so many second-level peak ferocious beasts in the assessment area. Now that my points have skyrocketed, those predetermined seed players must have discovered it. If nothing else, they are all heading towards the middle area now. Time is tight and there is no room for waste. Lu Chen originally wanted to hone his practical skills. Forget it now. Let Hongshuang, who is in the form of flame, join the battle. One man and one insect began to sweep frantically, just like a whirlwind sweeping away all the second-level peak beasts, hunting and devouring them one by one. Of course, the second-level early and middle stage beasts encountered along the way must not be let go. Although it is useless for his own breakthrough, but it still has some improvement for Hongshuang. And at this time, just as he expected, the sudden change in the ranking list stunned all the references. Especially Yun Yi, who was firmly in the first place. As a military genius, he had the hope of impacting the Linkang number 1 seed on the genius list. At this time, he was standing silently in a dense forest with a frown. Liu Chen, this data is too outrageous. He raised his wrist. Just keep watching the ranking changes. His position has long dropped to second place, 109 points. And Liu Chen, 324, 339, 351, 372. Basically every few seconds, there will be an almost exaggerated increase. If there is a problem with the scoring props, the examiners outside will definitely find it and freeze it. But until now, his points are still skyrocketing. Yun Yi's brain is not stupid. He knew that Liu Chen must have rushed directly to the middle circle, specifically looking for second-level beasts to hunt. Hiding so deeply, putting his wrist down, Yun Yi's eyes became indifferent, looking at the distance and muttering to himself, "But you are not the only one who hides your strength. I wanted to keep 2 tricks and use them at the main base of the war zone. Now it seems that it won't work." Boom! The surging blood and chi fluctuations, like a river with the gates opened, flowed rapidly in his body. Liu He lock, open. As the ban on himself was lifted, Yun Yi's aura soared rapidly, and he rushed directly from the 6th level of transcendence to the 9th level. At the same time, he exerted his full strength and rushed forward like an arrow from a string. The first in Linkang is mine. It's mine. He was excited, and his eyes were filled with a strong fighting spirit. Half an hour later, when he came to the middle circle, he was completely dumbfounded. The early and middle stage second-level beasts were scattered and almost wiped out. And there was not a single peak second-level beast. Liu Chen must have been here. Yun Yi turned around, surrounded the middle circle, and killed in another direction. But still no harvest. The entire circle in the martial arts examination area was completely slaughtered. After chasing for a while, he finally saw a figure near the core area. After recognizing the man, Yun Yi suddenly shouted, "Liu Chen!" Full of emotions, completely burst out. Next to the ruins of the high-rise building in front, Liu Chen turned around and asked inexplicably, "What are you doing?" He was about to leave and head towards the core area. Looking back at the man behind him, Liu Chen didn't even know who he was. After all, the people arranged by the military did not gather at the Martial Arts Association Square, but came to the assessment area alone. At this time, Yun Yi had a complicated expression, opened his mouth, and said, "Nothing, just say hello." As a prodigy trained by the military, Yun Yi is definitely a smart man. He tracked along the way and saw the corpses of hundreds of second-level beasts. Even the peak second-level beasts seemed to be killed instantly. This strength is too terrifying. Among the martial arts candidates of this year, there is definitely a gap, so terrifying. Old silver coins. Yun Yi knew in his heart that even if he exposed his 9th-level cultivation, he was far from being Liu Chen's opponent. How could such a guy appear in Linkang City? It's outrageous. Yun Yi was depressed. When he saw Liu Chen nodded and rushed towards the core, he roared silently and punched the void a few times. It's so cowardly. Another place. In the ruins of a shopping mall, Bai Chuning and her best friend Shu Qin also noticed Liu Chen's ranking. Especially the exaggerated points, which made the two women unbelievable. They worked hard to get only a few dozen points, barely ranking in the top 15. And Liu Chen, more than 500. Fake. Absolutely fake. Shu Qin's face changed, but finally sneered. Even the geniuses of Yun Yi and Lin Shui can't reach this value. She turned her head, as if to get confirmation. Continued. To get this kind of points, you must have hunted a second-level beast, and it's only been a short time since the assessment started, less than 2 hours. Although beasts below the 3rd level are all low level. And human warriors, because they master martial arts, are generally stronger than beasts at the same level, but it can't be so outrageous. Liu Chen's points are too unreasonable. Bai Chuning nodded silently and replied, "It is indeed unlikely. Alas, I hope he does not lose the qualification for the martial arts exam. Let's go, let's continue hunting and try the 1st-level peak beast." Shu Qin raised his wrist again and looked at Liu Chen's points, which were still soaring. He was more determined in his heart. No wonder he didn't team up with others, afraid that his cheating would be exposed. I heard that more than 10 years ago, someone cheated in the martial arts exam, and even the points system was hacked and changed directly. Many people were executed in that case. Shu Qin said viciously. The martial arts exam is in progress now, and outsiders cannot come in to interfere. After the assessment is over, I want to see how Lu Chen ends up." Hearing this, Bai Chuning was suddenly shocked. Fortunately, she was not in a team with Lu Chen, otherwise she would definitely be implicated. For a while, she was also a little scared, inspired by Lu Chen's points. In this martial arts exam in Linkang City, several talented seedlings all headed towards the core area in advance. When Lin Shui arrived here, she found that there were already several figures in front of her, gathering together with inexplicable expressions. Seed players such as Sun Qi, Lu Yi, and Huang Tai were all there. After noticing her coming, Sun Qi immediately ran over excitedly and said in a low voice, "Class leader. Big news. All the second-level beasts in the middle circle have been slaughtered." He rubbed his hands and didn't wait for a reply. He continued, "I thought that Brother Lu's integrator was broken before, so he made an exaggerated score. Now it seems that it's not. Maybe he killed all those second-level beasts. Tisk tisk tisk. My brother Lu is so incredible. In such a short time and such a large area, to get so many points, you can only push all the way and kill instantly." Sun Qi reasoned by himself, his eyes filled with excitement and enthusiasm. But he suddenly remembered in his mind, when he was taken by his aunt Sun Chenyan that day to rescue Lu Chen who was being hunted by the Du family, the latter was eating barbecue by the stream. He even had the intention to kill Sun Chenyan. He was still confused at that time. Now it seems that Lu Chen is really confident. And now it can be concluded that Du Shanghe, the second level of Rongchao of the Du family, was killed by Lu Chen himself. Supernormal kills Rongchao. And at that time, Lu Chen had just entered the supernormal. Thoughts were stirring in his mind, and Sun Qi's blood was boiling inexplicably. Let's go to the core area. I heard from them that Yun Yi from the Linkang military has followed Brother Lu in, and it is estimated that they are going to start snatching and attacking the third-level beasts. Oh my god, are these perverts so fierce? The third-level beasts correspond to the Yukong realm for human warriors, and they are at the top of the pyramid in the entire Linkang city. The reason why his Sun family can become the first family in Linkang is because there are 2 Yukong realms. And now, 2 martial arts students are actually going to challenge the third-level beast. In Sun Qi's opinion, it is simply a fantasy, and it feels stupid just thinking about it. He can't wait to rush to the center of the assessment area. Outside, opposite the judges' stand, on the huge display screen, the ranking area has been closed. After all, Lu Chen's horse has whetted everyone's appetite. There is no point in looking at other candidates. Now the whole picture is a drone perspective, all locked on the third-level beast. A group of Linjiang City's high-level officials held their breath and waited quietly. The process of hunting the second-level beast can be ignored and Lu Chen can be allowed to perform freely. But the third-level beast is different. According to the regulations of the Daxia high-level officials, with the addition of military geniuses in this martial arts exam, in order to further select the top geniuses, third-level beasts will be deployed in the core area. For small cities like Linkang City, this regulation is just a formality. After all, only the main base of the war zone and the powerful satellite city will have a few S-level monsters who are qualified to challenge the third-level beasts. But now, 2 appeared in Linkang City. Yun Yi from the military suddenly burst out with the 9th-level extraordinary cultivation, intending to turn the tables with the third-level beasts. And what about Lu Chen? After sweeping away the second-level beasts, he still had the energy to move forward towards the core area. Hey, how did this Lu Chen show up? Next to Chu Yuanlong, Song Wuyong, the military commander of Linkang City, continued with a wry smile. I thought that Yun Yi could win the first place in Linkang City's martial arts examination with only the 6th level of extraordinary strength, and it was even more than enough. Unexpectedly, I encountered a little monster. He really couldn't understand. In a small place like Linkang City, the few seed players all know the ins and outs. The one with the best talent is Lin Shui, who has awakened her A-level talent, but she comes from an ordinary background and has not received the best training. The rest of them, Sun Qi and others, have been training their bodies with masters from the clan since they were young, and have laid an excellent foundation. But it is impossible for these beings to compete with the military. According to speculation, the first place in Linkang City's martial arts examination is Yun Yi. But Lu Chen happened to be there. There were rumors before, which were very conclusive, saying that Lu Chen had to take the body-sloughing pill from the military in order to enter the transcendent realm. But now it seems that this information is simply wrong. The third-level ferocious beast is not that easy to deal with, even if it is already weak. Chu Yuanlong looked at the screen and said calmly, Yulinkang military Yunyi rushes forward rashly, fearing that there will be danger. It is really reckless. The third-level ferocious beast corresponds to the air control realm of the martial arts system. But if they really meet one-on-one, without the ability to control the air, the warrior is no match for the third-level ferocious beast. Not to mention, Yunyi is still just a 9th-level extraordinary person. At this time, Song Wuyong heard this and said sadly, Yunyi's temperament is not so reckless. He only lost his mind when he saw Lu Chen rushing over. Speaking of which, Lu Chen's strength is only in the extraordinary category. How dare he hunt down the third-level ferocious beast? If you didn't see it with your own eyes, no one would believe it. Although it is a bit outrageous for someone in the transcendent realm to kill hundreds of second-level ferocious beasts in 1 hour. But at least it makes sense. After all, the second-level ferocious beast is only 1 level higher than the extraordinary. With good talent and acquired martial arts skills, you can do it. Can he cross 2 realms and hunt level 3 ferocious beasts? Is this really life-threatening? You don't understand. Chu Yuanlong looked at the screen and saw that Lu Chen's position was getting closer and closer to the target point. For a moment, the Grandmaster's 9th-level Heavenly Thunder Sword felt a little nervous or expectant in his heart. After pondering for a few breaths, he continued, I don't know if Lu Chen can hunt the 3rd level. But there are a few of those little perverts in the main base in the war zone who can. And the 3rd-level ferocious beasts they killed were not the ones that were processed in the examination room. Song Wuyong next to him took a breath of cold air. His status may not be low in Linkang City, and his own strength is also a strong one at the 4th level of air control. In the entire Linkang City, he is regarded as a high-ranking official. But again, Linkang City is only one of the weakest cities among the many acropolises in the Zhongnan War Zone, and the development of martial arts is too low. Things that cannot happen here may really happen elsewhere. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.